Hello and welcome to a Radio K audio presentation of Golden Gopher football in this matchup for Floyd of Rosedale, the famous 15.5-inch high, 21-inch long bronze statued pig. Of course, we're talking Minnesota and Iowa, a historic rivalry that has stood the test of time, the 118th time that these two teams have faced off, the 90th battle for Floyd of Rosedale. Gophers are 63-52 all time in this matchup, and it's the Big Ten home opener for Minnesota, and the first time that Iowa is also seeing Big Ten play. I'm Matthew Zeikert. I'm joined alongside Max Waschuk. And Max, the student section is already filled to the brim. The excitement is palpable. What is your thought going into this epic matchup?
Excitement. I mean, there's nothing else like it. First Big Ten game of the year for the Gophers. A lot to look forward to, but also this is a big test. Last 2 weeks have been rather cakewalks, so interested to see how this team plays against a rather stingy Iowa defense.
Well, Minnesota has not been the greatest against Iowa with P.J. Fleck at the helm, but that changed last year when they were in Iowa, of course. P.J. Fleck got his first win against Iowa, and it was quite the controversial one, if you remember. With Floyd of Rosedale on the line, Iowa appeared to take the lead with 1:21 left when Cooper DeJean fielded the punt, but of course there was all that commotion about whether it was a fair catch or not. They ruled that it was a fair catch, so it wasn't actually a touchdown. And alas, we are here. Minnesota has possession of the pig. And believe it or not, the Floyd of Rosedale tradition actually stemmed from an actual pig that both Iowa and Minnesota's governors agreed to exchange, obviously due to health and safety and all that jazz. You can't really keep a live mascot like that for too long, so they opted for the bronze option. But we are here, and you know, it seems like Iowa every year, they don't really get a lot of points on the board. But this year, things are starting to change for the Hawkeyes.
Yeah, the Hawkeyes, I mean, they start off the season strong with a 40-0 win against Illinois State. It was only 6-0 at halftime, but the offense turned it on that second half. And then the big game we really are going to focus on is their loss, is that 2019 loss to Iowa State. They were up 13-0 at half, and ultimately, I mean, the second half was a complete disaster for the Iowa Hawkeyes football team. And then they, last week, a big 38-21 win against Troy. But you're right, Iowa's offense has been rather surprising this year. 32.2 points per game scored with 419 yards per game so far. I mean, it's small sample size, 3 games, but the offense is not what we're used to seeing.
Precisely. And much like Minnesota, Iowa is kind of gone for the run game, specifically their junior running back, Caleb Johnson. He has posted 3 straight 100-yard games, even in that Cyhawk game that they lost, and he has a total of 7 career 100-yard games. He has an NCAA leading 479 rushing yards, and that surpasses his 2023 total, averaging 159.7 yards and 7.85 yards per attempt. But the Gophers, they have a heck of a running back themselves in just an epic running back.
Yeah, Darius Taylor, it was a pleasure watching him score a hat trick last week. For those of you who don't know, that's 3 touchdowns. 188 rush yards coming into this game. That's around 94. He's averaging 136 total yards per game. He's getting involved not only as a running back, but as a pass-catching running back as well. He will be, in my opinion, the pivotal player against this Iowa squad, who, quite frankly, is pretty good against the run, only allowing 56 rush yards a game, this Iowa Hawkeyes defense.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, Darius Taylor was out week 1 against North Carolina. That was a primetime game, but unfortunately Minnesota came up short, losing 17-19, and that really came down to field goals.
It's a shame because as a fan, as a freshman here at the University of Minnesota, I was gifted the opportunity to be in the student section quite early. We knew the field goal was missed, and it was very misleading when the fireworks went off. But I tell you what, both these teams' losses have been decided by a field goal. Iowa State kicked the game winner, and Minnesota lost on a potential game winner. So the records, these teams could very well both be 3-0, and we were talking earlier in the booth, this game has potential. Whoever wins could be considered a ranked team after this. Whoever wins.
Indeed. At least receiving votes from both the AP and the coaches poll. Now, looking at the last two Minnesota games, it has been just offense dominating, but more importantly, the defense hasn't allowed a point in the last two games. The first time that has happened since 1962. What do you think has been the key for this Minnesota defense?
Truthfully, secondary. The secondary has had 2 straight games with 3 interceptions, 7 on the year. Just calling these last 2 games, I've noticed it's the secondary. They swallow. It's like bees around a hive. They're just there, not giving receivers much room on their route breaks. And then that also goes to a lot of credit has to be given to the defensive line, not giving quarterback a lot of time. I know last week against Nevada, quarterback was forced out of the pocket a lot, had to make some questionable decisions, ultimately going to the Gophers' favor. But I will say the secondary has been the strongest. 7 interceptions on this year, and as I mentioned, 2 straight games of 3 interceptions, and we saw a pick 6 2 weeks ago.
Indeed, we did. Well, looking back at the last time that Minnesota played Iowa in this building, it actually was a loss. A lot of it was highlighted by just an epic game by Mo Ibrahim as he just trampled the Hawkeyes defense, career-high 263 yards and a touchdown on 39 carries, rather. But a fumble really cost the game. And Matthew Trickett did hit a 27-yard field goal in the third quarter, but he pulled one right with 38 seconds left before halftime, and things just kind of went crazy from there. Looking back specifically at last week against Nevada, obviously not putting up 48 points against Nevada, but you're putting up 27 against a team that beat Troy, mind you, and Troy really put up one heck of a fight against this Iowa team.
We were watching that. We were monitoring that game very closely last week, Matt. And I tell you what, a lot of us in here were saying, "Oh, maybe Iowa might get upset." That obviously was not the case. But look, the Gophers, I think, have a great shot here at home. Last week was a Darius Taylor show. I expect that to continue, especially against the stingy Iowa defense. Now, the question is, will this Iowa rush defense absolutely prevent Taylor from getting anything going? I'm not sure. I think the Gophers will be running the ball. This is going to be a low-scoring game. I believe the line is set at 35.5 over/under. So Vegas clearly thinks not many points will be scored here. I quite frankly agree. I do believe we're going to see a lot of running the ball today.
Indeed. I think that you are not far off from the truth, but only time will tell. Do you have any players that you're really looking out for today on both Iowa and Minnesota to really make changes other than the ones that we previously mentioned?
Caden McNamara, he's not had the greatest start offensively for the Hawkeyes. He's only last week he had last week he had 176 passing yards, but this is a guy that only averages about 176 a game, so he hit his averages there. The Gophers defense gives up about 200. So I want to see him make a difference. Obviously, the Gophers, we just discussed, have a great secondary. 7 interceptions total this year. That's the guy who I'm looking out for Iowa, but on the Gopher offensive standpoint, Daniel Jackson. I feel like that's a big name. Probably was called a lot last year. He had the big walk-off, felt like a walk-off touchdown catch, but it wasn't, against Nebraska in the opener. He's been very quiet. He's still searching for his first touchdown. He wants to hit pay dirt today. I can only imagine in a maroon sellout crowd, prime time against your Iowa rival. That's the name I'm looking for. I'm not sure how much they'll pass the ball today, but Daniel Jackson, number 9 of the Minnesota Golden Gophers, is my player to look for to at least step up today.
Yeah, and while we have the time, we should bring up that there are 2 very important injuries for Minnesota. Minnesota will go without Justin Wally and Aiden Gowsby against Iowa today. Justin Wally had a interception against Iowa last year, was a very crucial play in that game at Kinnick Stadium. And now the Gophers have a lot that they need to readjust defensively. Do you think that with these kind of last-minute, I mean, the announcement of the injuries was just 2 hours ago. Obviously, coaching staff knew prior, but we'll have to wait and see as we get ready for the national anthem. Excellent rendition there by the University of Minnesota Marching Band. The crowd already electric. Let's get back into this game. A whole lot to talk about before things kick off, and we should probably start talking about the predictions. Like you said, the over-under is 36.5. What do you think is going to happen in this game in terms of point totals, and do you think it's going to be another low-scoring affair?
I do. I mean, you go back to week 1 in the 1917 loss to the North Carolina. We saw a lot of ground game presence on both teams, whether that was Omari and Hampton on North Carolina, or at the time starting running back Marcus Major, although Darius Taylor wasn't healthy. I think we will be seeing a lot of rushing here. Caleb Johnson, as we mentioned earlier, one of the better backs in all of college football. He has 2 touchdowns in every single game he's played, so I can expect to see them feed him the ball. And Darius Taylor, I mean, we have 2 red-hot running backs.
Mm-hmm.
Guy who's got 4 touchdowns in 2 games, and then we got another guy who's got 6 touchdowns in 3 games. So they're going to, I mean, average-wise, they have 2 touchdowns a game. I think Caleb Johnson and Darius Taylor will be the guys who we will expect to see the most, but I just think a lot of running, and rushing usually leads to a low-score game against 2 good defenses. So that's my take.
And it gets rid of the option of the interception. Last week for Minnesota, Kerry Brown was named Big Ten Freshman of the Week after recording 4 tackles and 2 interceptions in that Nevada shutdown. It was the first multi-interception game for a Gopher freshman since at least 1990. And Cade McNamara, as you mentioned earlier, hasn't thrown too many interceptions. I believe he only has 2 to his name this year. Obviously, so much history with him being a graduate student and COVID and all that back in when he was applying to schools and such, and he was being searched by schools. He was actually committed to Notre Dame, ended up going to Michigan, ends up securing Michigan a spot in the College Football Playoff for the first time in their history. Of course, they beat who? Iowa. So kind of an interesting caveat there. Alrighty. So Iowa is favored by 2.5 this game. Do you think that is a correct observation, or do you think that Minnesota, with this home crowd on their side, they could really make those odds makers shiver in their shoes?
I will say, the bias wants to say, yeah, obviously we want the Gophers to be favored, but how funny is it that the line is 2.5? For those who don't know, that's a field goal. Both these teams' losses, as we mentioned earlier, was decided by a field goal. This game will go down to the wire, in my opinion. It might be boring, but it'll be a grudge match. This game will be won in the trenches. I think it's a fair line. Obviously, the hometown bias wants me to say the Gophers should be favored, but who doesn't like an underdog at home with the home team supporting them?
Indeed, PJ Fleck has boasted about the underdog status that Minnesota has, and specifically some of their players as they get ready to enter the field. Obviously, the row the boat tradition going strong here in Minneapolis.
And mentioning freshmen, Coy Parrish, a true freshman, we saw his first interception against Rhode Island 2 weeks ago. I think he's a guy with the injuries to Justin Wally and Aiden Gousby. Coy Parrish is going to get a lot of play time today. I think he's going to have a big, it's going to be a big challenge as a true freshman in a big game like this. He's been seeing the field a little bit more each week. He's been shown out there on punt returns. He had, like I mentioned, first interception of his collegiate career against Rhode Island. I think we'll see number 3, Coy Parrish, true freshman, out of Esco, Minnesota, get a lot of play time today due to the injuries on the Gophers' defensive side.
Very good point there. And, of course, you hear the boos here from Minnesota fans as Iowa brings out their 4 flags, 1 for each letter of their name. Another interesting fact about this game is we have a battle of the Aussie kickers. Yes, both of these kickers hail from Australia, and Iowa, their kicker, perfect this season.
Brad Stevens has, yes, like you said, perfect. I mean, that's the only way to describe it. He has not missed a kick at all. I believe he has 5 of 5 from field goals and 10 of 10 for extra points. So if you're to bet on him to make a kick, he will probably make it. I don't recommend it because the Gophers think we got a good home crowd tonight if you can't hear. But yes, he is indeed perfect.
Alrighty, Max will be taking over the first half, or the first quarter at the very least, play-by-play call. But before we get into the action, I got to hand over the mic to Jax Bartlett so he can give his prediction for today's game.
Thank you, Matthew. I'm feeling a little under the weather coming into the game today. Actually, almost lost my voice about a day and a half ago. My prediction for the game, I think that both teams are going to have to figure out how to move the ball through the air. Iowa is going to be able to with the loss of Justin Wally and Aiden Gausby, I think. But I'm going to take the Gophers in the end to win it on a late field goal. I think it'll be around 16-13 for a score prediction this afternoon, and as we roll into tonight, I think it'll be really fun, classic Big Ten West matchup between these two foes who know each other well. All I hope is that it doesn't come down to another invalid kick receiving signal.
Well, Jack, off what you said, 16 plus 13 is 29. That's the under. The theme for Iowa last year, I don't know if you guys pay attention, take the under in Iowa football. This team does not score a lot. Obviously, different story this year, but I mean, Jack said it perfectly. It could end ugly. We hope it doesn't, but it will be a low-scoring game as we are almost a minute away from kickoff here, Matt.
Yes, indeed. Not an empty seat in the student section, mostly filling up in the general admission as well. Iowa fans, though, they travel well, and obviously a lot of them live in the Twin Cities. Maybe they got a job in the Twin Cities, so there are a lot of Iowa fans here, and it's pretty obvious when it's mostly maroon.
Well, the theme was maroon out, and I will say, walking to the stadium today down University Avenue, there's the good old frat row. I was shocked to see a lot of Iowa fans going to the frats. I thought, the stereotype of the frats is we won't let you in. Why was I seeing yellow? I was seeing Hawkeye merchandise at Frat Road, and I mean, it questions the loyalty here in the university when you're letting Iowa guys go into the fraternities, but who cares, right? I mean, there's more of us than them.
I think I even spotted an Iowa jersey in the student section. So
I mean, this is infiltration at its finest, isn't it, Matt?
Indeed it is.
We are 20 seconds away from kickoff. The Gophers elected, I believe, they are going to receive this first half kickoff. Coy Parrish, the freshman I noted earlier, set to return. As we are set for a big, electric Saturday Night Light primetime game here at Huntington Bank Stadium in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Minnesota has to be conservative with these returns. They can't afford a fumble on a return. And, the energy is so crazy here tonight. Kick returners got to take that into consideration and not do anything too brash.
As you can hear the Sky Yuma chant, this is probably the most electric game I've witnessed here in my very young 4 games here at the University of Minnesota. One as a student. This will be my 3rd in the booth. But boy, I tell you what, everything is advertised, isn't it?
Yes, indeed. Big Ten rivalries are unlike any other, especially one with over 100 years of history.
Brad Stevens puts the ball down on the holder as we are moments away from getting this game kicked off. Coy Parrish waiting patiently. The true freshman out of Esco, Minnesota, set to receive the kickoff. Stevens' kick is up and away, and Parrish chooses to take it out halfway through the end zone. Parrish at the 10. He trips and stumbles near the 22-yard line. Bold move from Parrish, take it out 5 yards deep. Nonetheless, the Gophers will start the game with possession around the 22-yard line.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Like I said, I'm not too happy with that considering, you don't want to have lousy turnovers in an important game like this. But at least it wasn't a turnover, and they're almost at the 25, so not a lot to complain about if you're a Gophers fan.
Yeah, mark at the 21 officially. Brosmer set to take the snap under center. He walks back to shotgun. He's got Taylor to the left, 2 receivers to the left, 1 receiver to the right. Brosmer takes a snap, steps back, surveys, fires. Brockington was not ready for that. Incomplete, almost dropped it. He was wide open.
Yeah, almost dropped it indeed. And that was very interesting to see where Iowa was lined up in that, because that could have easily been an interception.
Well, and it just miscommunication. Lemeke Brockington kind of stopped. He stopped in the soft spot in the area. I just didn't have his head turn around, and maybe the ball was thrown a bit behind, but unfortunate. Would have maybe been just enough to pick up the first down. Nonetheless, Brosmer in the shotgun with two running backs each to the side. Taylor motions to the left. Brosmer looks, dumps it off. There's Major at the 20. He takes a couple of hits. He will be tackled near the 26-yard line, setting up a third down for the Gophers.
Interesting that we thought this was going to be such a run-dominated game, and the first 2 plays from Minnesota were straight-up passes.
Well, I don't want to call out our partner Jack Bartlett, but he did say the first 2 plays would be run plays. I will say the complete opposite, but nonetheless, here we are faced with a third down. We'll keep you posted on what his prediction was after this play. Brosmer seems to be alone in the backfield. 2 receivers to the left, 3 receivers to the right. Ball at the 25. It is 3rd and 6. Brosmer motions Taylor in a bit. Brosmer snaps, looks, fires. There's Taylor with the catch at the 30, now to the 35, breaks a tackle, brought down near the 36. That's a first down for the Golden Gophers. 3 straight pass plays, and we're moving the chains.
And the versatility of Darius Taylor, a running back obviously, but he can get that first down, be it a run, be it an option. He has the moves, and he's got the athleticism and the ability to make plays.
I mean, the dude's hot. He's averaging 2 games he's played over $130 total offensive yards. He's coming off a hat trick. I mean, I know I wish I had to toss it out on the field, but he's hot. Brosmer in the shotgun. Major to the right, takes the snap. Major gets the ball. He gets tackled, and he is swarmed by a bunch of Hawkeyes near the 39-yard line. Call it a gain of minimal. It'll be 2nd and long.
In his press conference, P.J. Fleck said that Iowa is still Iowa, and he said that was very much a compliment. If you know Iowa's history, they've always been good defensively, showcasing that a little bit right there.
I mean, when you give up 56 yards on the ground per game so far in this young season, I'm expecting to see that. Brosmer in the shotgun. He's got Taylor to the right, 2 receivers to the right. Heavy set. Motions to Spencer. Bounces out near the 40. Handoff. Fake. Brosmer. Wide open tight end. Number 86 on the Golden Gophers. That's Jamison Gears. He works his way closer to the sticks.
I'm not going to see a lot of long passes here from Minnesota. PJ has been asked, do you trust Brosmer more than any other QB? And he said he can't really make that statement. You're going to see him have a lot of trust in his leadership abilities, but in a super pivotal game like this, expect really short passes.
2nd, 3rd down, the Gophers are facing this very young game. They're 1 for 4, similar situation. 3rd and 5, ball at the 42. Brosmer in the shotgun. He's got Major to the left, 2 receivers to the right, 2 receivers to the left. Brosmer gets the snap. Fires a deep ball, left sideline, out of bounds. Jackson may have come down with that, but it does not matter. That ball was well out of bounds on the Gopher sideline. And we're hearing some groans here early, but that will force the Gophers to punt the ball. Matt, thoughts on that drive?
Well, a lot of people were predicting 3 and outs were going to be a very prevalent thing this game. It's very nice to see that may not be the case. In fact, Minnesota is now 50% on 3rd down percentage.
Interesting. Only 1 rush attempt in a game. We were basically talking all about it's going to be a run first type of game. The Gophers are sent to punt.
That could easily change now with Iowa.
Caden Weegan set to receive the ball. He cuts upfield and is brought down near the 25-yard line. And Iowa Hawkeyes will start their first drive in their own territory. I believe the tackle was made by Zaquan Bryan.
Now the Gophers get to see Cade McNamara. Hawkeye Nation is kind of split on what to feel about Cade McNamara. A lot of people are wishing that maybe the backup had a little bit more time, but it has been really clear to me that Iowa fans don't want them to shy away from McNamara right away, and they don't necessarily want him to have all the reps in the game, as you saw with their backup scoring last week.
McNamara under center, the man we've been talking about, Caleb Johnson, directly behind him in the I formation. Receiver motioning, the give, play action. McNamara fires. That pass is caught by the tight end number 85, Luke Lachey. Average gain there. We'll see where the ball is spotted. Interesting. Both teams, we've been I feel like a broken record. We've been preaching about the run game, both throwing the ball on the first play.
Part of me wonders if that's just the offensive coordinators being like, oh, well, I've read all the op-eds about what's going to happen this week. We got to mix it up and surprise the fans here at Huntington Bank Stadium.
McNamara under center, he motions his receiver. Johnson directly behind him. Johnson will get the ball. He turns, cuts a little bit, but he is swallowed by a Gophers defensive line. going nowhere for his first attempt of the game. And we get a big third down early in this Iowa drive.
Excellent work by that defensive line. Such a cohesive unit on that play, not allowing any gain. In 3rd and 4, mind you, Iowa is going towards the student section, which is jam-packed. It's going to be a tough conversion for Iowa right here.
Maverick Baranowski and Danny Strigow. And we're going to get a timeout. I believe that is on the Iowa side, and this Golden Gopher student section is getting to this Iowa Hawkeye team early.
Yeah, maybe even getting to Kirk Ferentz, who obviously has been with the Iowa team for quite some time. Some of the coaches on his team actually played for Ferentz, and this timeout is very crucial for Minnesota, and it shows you just how much this crowd is getting into the game.
It's the first sellout of the year. Student section was probably full half an hour before the game, and now we're seeing all the other general admission tickets get filled up. As we will be back with you shortly. We'll take a break here. You're listening to Golden Gopher Football on Radio K Sports. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. If you're tuning in, there's 10:49 left in this first quarter, still early. But if you can't hear the crowd, the Iowa Hawkeyes offense is faced with 3rd and 4, ball at their own 32-yard line. McNamara all alone. He's got Johnson to the right of him. McNamara snaps. He looks, fires, passes, batted, it's incomplete.
Excellent defensive play there by Minnesota. For a second there, I thought that maybe the D-back was going to get an interception the way that ball jumped. If I'm not mistaken, that's number 12, not Jalen Smith, Darius Green from Covington, Georgia. Almost with that.
So the Gophers defense, which we've been talking about, has been very good in the secondary, has only given up 6 pass yards in that young drive as we're set to punt. Parrish fielding the ball, he's going to wave it off. Fair catch, take notes, Iowa fans. As the Gophers will set to take field here on their second possession after a great first defensive drive.
Well, funny you talk about the fair catch controversy and such. As I was walking into the stadium today a few hours before kickoff, I saw an Iowa fan with a shirt that said it wasn't a fair catch.
It's funny you say that. I saw the same, I don't know if it's the same guy, but someone's been printing those shirts out there in Iowa City. So the fans know what's going on here. As we will take another break. We'll be back with you shortly. You're listening to Golden Gopher Football on Radio K Sports.
This one's called May of the Mist. Fine.
back, ladies and gentlemen. The Golden Gophers and the Iowa Hawkeyes are currently knotted up at 0-0 as the Gophers and Max Brosmer are set to take their second drive of the game. Ball placed at their own 15 here. Still very early, 10:37 left to go in this first quarter.
Yeah, and that punt was like a mile high by the looks of it.
Brosmer and shotgun, motions in his tight end gears. He fakes the handoff to Taylor. Brosmer finds Daniel Jackson up the middle of the field, taken down near the 35-yard line. There's a name we need to hear more often. Daniel Jackson and Max Brosmer connect for 20 yards.
Yeah, that connection might be essential in this game, as both coaches are showing us that looks can be deceiving, not necessarily two run-heavy teams.
Gophers in tempo, Brosmer and shotgun, Taylor to the right of him. Brosmer steps back, he surveys the scene, dumps off Taylor. That's picked off by number 34 in the Iowa Hawkeyes near the 40-yard line. Call it Jay Higgins, and just like that, the Gophers have given up the ball.
And I think that might change PJ's playbook from here on out. Obviously, you don't want a turnover this early in the game. They're just lucky that wasn't a pick six.
Well, you got to love the rules where once you hit the ground, you're down in college football. But it just, once again, I mean, we saw in the first drive with Brockington on that incompletion on the first play of the game. Darius Taylor was not looking. It seemed Brosmer felt pressure and wanted to get rid of it. Taylor's head wasn't turned around and threw it right into the gullet of Jay Higgins, and that is Brosmer's second interception on the season, and the Hawkeyes are gifted with great field position here. Ball on the Gopher 38. McNamara in shotgun. He's got his running back to the left, one receiver to the right, one receiver to the left. Hands to Caleb Johnson. Johnson finds a little hole through the middle. He will be brought down short of the first down marker, a couple of yards short, but a solid gain nonetheless.
And how these quarterbacks handle their time in the pocket is of the essence. I think right now that little play there by Brosmer has shown you that maybe the hype of this game might be getting to him, whereas McNamara has not been the greatest, only a 75.2 rating, but has not thrown an interception yet this game.
Brosmer was 4-6 until that pick. He was off to a solid start. McNamara in the shotgun. He's got Johnson to his right. McNamara finds number 5 on the Iowa Hawkeyes. Call it Jacob Gill out of Raleigh, North Carolina. He will move the sticks for the Iowa Hawkeyes. First down.
Moving closer and closer into that red zone are the Hawkeyes, and throwing the ball quite a bit. It's been shocking to see, especially since last year it was quite the opposite in this game.
Iowa Hawkeyes in I formation. Caleb Johnson directly behind Caden McNamara, right under center. The toss to Johnson. He is tackled at the line of scrimmage. Number 92 on the Gophers, call it Danny Strigow. I've called his name a couple times up here early in this game. Gain of none, essentially.
Yeah, a Minnesota native doing Minnesota things for the Gophers, whereas Iowa only has one Minnesota native on their team.
Call it 2nd and 9. They gave Johnson a yard on that play. Same formation, I formation. Caleb Johnson directly behind, probably call it 8 yards behind Caden McNamara. The motion of Gill. The give to Caleb Johnson. He's going to bounce to the left. He's going to evade a tackle. He's going to stay on speed. Down to the 20, along the sideline. 10-5, touchdown, Iowa. Caleb Johnson, a 24-yard rushing touchdown. His 7th touchdown of the year, and the Hawkeyes, not to this crowd's approval, are up 6-0.
Not what you want to see right here at Huntington Bank Stadium. First home game against a Big Ten opponent, and then you allow something like that after a turnover. And it's definitely going to stand.
It seems so. A couple missed tackles by the Golden Gopher defense. Zaquan Bryan, one of them. Johnson was almost a stretch play. It looked like the run play was clogged up at the line of scrimmage and kind of kept bouncing to the left, found a hole, and ran along the sideline. As they are reviewing this play, curious to see what PJ Fleck or the men in the black and white stripes saw.
Yes, this is going to be a pivotal moment in this game. They're going to show the replay soon, I'm sure. Of course, being at Minnesota, you're going to see a lot of fans. Oh, there is a little bit of cleat on that white on the outside. They probably stop him at the 2.
That's a good estimate. I was wondering. I thought maybe they saw his knee touch the ground when he was kind of evading tackles, but I was wrong, and that's pretty obvious. We see that white cleat step on that white turf. Hawkeyes will not get the touchdown, but they will be awfully close to the goal line.
Well, like we said last year, very controversial call on Cooper DeJean. Maybe we see a little bit of a repeat.
Nothing controversial here, though.
No.
It was pretty obvious he stepped on the white line, but I understand what you're going with that. Maybe a second chance here for the Golden Gophers defensively after a couple missed tackles led to that play. Nonetheless, their backs are up against the wall quite literally. They're going to spot the ball, call it maybe 1.5 yard line, just behind the 1. They're going to say it's on the 1. First and goal at the 1 yard line for the Iowa Hawkeyes offense. Any predictions? What do you think this offense might run on this first play?
I think they're going to try to run it up the middle a couple of times. Obviously, they had success with the outside run. I think third time, if they're stuck on 3rd and goal, they might do a little short pass, mix things up. But I think Gophers are going to run goal line.
McNamara is in shotgun. Caleb Johnson is to his right. One receiver to left, one receiver to the right. Facing the student section. Motions his man in. Snap, gifted up the middle. Caleb Johnson, ease, inside zone run. That's a touchdown for the Iowa Hawkeyes.
Yep, pretty obvious call there if you're the head of Hawkeyes football operations. Obviously, you had some success running it on the outside, but here you see a little bit of a gap open up between these defenders and the excellent Iowa O-line. As a result, 6-0 Hawkeyes.
So this time the touchdown will not be under review and not reversed. We have the perfect kicker, Drew Stevens, set to take the extra point. He is 10 of 10 on the year. Make that 11 of 11. So the Gophers trail early in this game due to a miscue by Max Brosmer, 7-0. There's 8:03 left in this first quarter. We'll be back with you shortly. You're listening to Golden Gopher Football here from Minneapolis, Minnesota, Radio K Sports. We are back as the Golden Gophers trail the Iowa Hawkeyes 7-0, 8:03 to go in this first quarter.
We got to bring up those towels we see in the student section. Bring home the bacon. They had a little pig on it, of course, referencing Floyd of Rosedale. And PJ Fleck has gone on the record in saying that he does enjoy bacon, but extra crispy. He doesn't like it soggy at all.
Well, so far, we're not getting that bacon right now. We down 7-0 here early. Coy Parrish set to receive the kickoff by Stevens. And Parrish is going to wave this one. That's about more than enough kick power by Stevens, as the Gophers will take the ball and start this third drive after an uneventful, rather disappointing second drive after a touchback.
Yeah, I believe that might be touchback number 15 for Iowa this year. They've been really good at kicking this year, and it's been, I mean, one of the weird things about Iowa football is they always take so much pride in their special teams.
Well, we all know Caleb Williams said his punter would not need to punt the ball a lot. Matter of fact, I believe they have more punt yards than offensive yards this year. Former Iowa punter, by the way. Brosmer under center, gives to Taylor. Taylor bounces it to the left, now back to the right, up the middle for a minimal gain, swallowed up by a heap of Hawkeyes and Gophers mixed in that dog pile. It'll be second and a little longer than wanted. Call it 2nd and 8.
Yeah, those 2 yards gains aren't necessarily going to make or break you, but they're definitely looking for more on that one.
The Gophers have been slinging the ball early in their first 2 drives. 7 pass attempts to only 2 rush attempts, surprisingly. Brosmer in shotgun. He's got Marcus Major to his left. 3 receivers to the left as well. Motions Major to the right. The snap. Brosmer surveys. Dumps it off to Major to the right sideline. Makes a man miss. He will make another man miss on the right sideline and brought down well in front of, or whoa, he got the first down. Let's just put it at that. First down for the Golden Gophers. Great play by Marcus Major.
Stepped out.
Oh, he's getting told Marcus Major stepped out. He broke the ankles of number 27, Jamari Harris. But he will not get the first down, excuse me.
Sideline crew was even confused. I think they thought that they had the first down as well.
Oh, I saw the chains moving.
Yeah.
I mean, we're over here on the left sideline, and the right sideline is all the way across field for me. So I want to apologize, listeners at home, for that mistake. Brosmer in the shotgun, is running back to the right. He snaps. That's Nubin in the backfield. He fires. Elijah Spencer got his hands on it, but ultimately broken up by number 8, Deshaun Lee. And the Gophers will be set to punt for the second time today.
Yeah, the Gophers need to do a better job of keeping the ball in their possession. Right there, the ball jumps, and it's easy to make that catch, but unfortunately, some butterfingers today in beautiful Minneapolis.
Butterfingers and a little bit of contact, but in a game like this, got to let the boys play. Iowa set to receive the punt. That's Caden Weegan. He's going to fair catch it this time at 35. This time Iowa fair caught the ball, as they will be set to take possession of their third drive. As we will be back with you shortly. You're listening to Golden Gopher Football here on Radio K Sports. We welcome you back here to Huntington Bank Stadium on a cool, very gorgeous night here in Minneapolis, Minnesota. The sun is setting. It's, as many would say, golden hour. However, not golden hour for this Golden Gophers football team, down 7-0 early after a Max Brosmer miscue, leading to a Caleb Johnson rushing touchdown. The Iowa Hawkeyes set to take their drive here on their own 36-yard line. Caleb Johnson directly behind to McNamara. He gets the ball up the middle, and he is met by the Gophers defensive line. A gain of very little, setting him up for a second down.
Yeah, the core of the defensive line is doing really well. What they need to work better on is making sure that if they try to work on the outside, that they can get to those players effectively. And we saw that last drive with Iowa almost scoring that touchdown, and obviously scoring the touchdown with the dive up the middle.
Ethan Robinson and Devon Williams on the tackle. I formation again. Caleb Johnson gets the ball. It's faked actually. McNamara dumps it off to Caleb Johnson. He is met by Jack Henderson, short of the 40-yard line. Call it roughly 37. It's a third down for this Golden Gopher defense.
That was a great tackle there by the transfer student out of Southeast Louisiana.
That's textbook right there. Wrapped him up. Basically got no yards after contact. And we have another 3rd and 8 here. Let's see if the Golden Gophers can. Their defense has played well besides that one miscue, leading to which was ultimately the offense's fault. The crowd gets loud here. McNamara in shotgun. He's got Johnson to his left. 2 receivers to the left, 1 receiver to the right. McNamara takes the snap. He's going to throw the ball down the middle. It's incomplete, off the hands of the safety. I believe that was number 14, Kerry Brown, who had a big week last week. As the Gophers will force another punt.
Good work there by the Minnesota defense. PJ Fleck talks so much about the one-game championship season. It's kind of like a one-drive championship season for this defense. Short-term memory is the best thing to have if you're a defense.
That was Caleb Brown on the target. Iowa has punt. Will be their 3rd punt, I believe, and that punt soars high, but it's short. Never mind. That ball got a nice bounce in the air, which is blowing towards the student section. Gave it a nice little push, as the Gophers are set behind the 20 to take their 4th drive of the game.
Yeah, it had the look of a very uncharacteristic punt for a team that we've praised their punting so much, and so has most of college football media. But as you said, the wind will play a factor in this one, folks. I almost had my Coca-Cola can fall over.
Gophers set to take the ball at the 16-yard line. Brosmer in shotgun. Major to his right, 2 receivers left, 2 receivers to the right. Brosmer fires a pass. He holds on to it. Brosmer's going to take it to the left sideline for a yard. It's getting dark up here, folks. I thought he threw the ball. I was wrong. It's a scramble for maybe 1.
Yeah, doing that fake pass there. Brosmer has shown some ability to run the football, but McNamara not so much. Before entering this game, he had negative rushing yards on the season.
Brosmer in shotgun. He's got Darius Taylor to his right. 1 receiver to the left, 1 receiver to the right. Brosmer motions his tight end. A give to Taylor. He's going to bounce up the middle, finds a little bit of daylight. Brought down near the 21-yard line. It'll be set up a 3rd and short for this Gophers offense.
Yeah, this Gophers O-line needs to do a better job of creating space for Taylor. Right there, he has a little bit of space, but the O-line was just not able to hold back number 8 for Iowa, Deshaun Lee.
Brosmer in shotgun. Taylor to his left. He's got 2 receivers to the right. That's Jackson and Elijah Spencer. Caller up in gears in motion to the left. Brosmer takes the snap, looks to the right, fires in the middle. Daniel Jackson, he's going to come down with it on the slant route. That's a Golden Gopher first down, but there was a little bit of extra pushing and shoving from number 30, Quinn Schulte. Nonetheless, that's going to move the chains. What a great concentration there by Daniel Jackson.
And then the ability to get up and take a couple extra steps. I mean, it kind of reminds me of that Thursday night football play we saw from the Patriots where he just body slammed the guy. No flag on that play, though.
Jackson never seemed to actually hit his limbs or any of the parts of his body in the ground, which is why the play was still deemed alive. Nonetheless, the Gophers get a first down on their own 33, and we have whistles blown.
Not sure what they're conferring about right now.
Maybe spot of the ball, or whether they thought he was down.
They're checking the spot.
Could be the spot. It was a weird looking play because I saw them keep going after it. The play kept going on. I was like, I thought he was down. We'll hear from the. They will be reviewing the spot of the ball, whether Jackson was down earlier or not.
Have to see if there's a knee that hits the ground or not.
Maybe parts of his tush. Anything, really. See if we can get a, here we go. I don't know. It looks to me, unless you count the shin, if you think his shin hit the ground, he kept going. Either way, it'll be a first down. It's just a matter of extra 3 or 4 yards.
They do rule it. He was down at the 29. So interesting to see the different demeanors of both these coaches, with PJ Fleck and Ferentz. I feel like Ferentz is much more cool, calm, and collected. PJ Fleck already showing his energetic side, just running back and forth, conferring with the refs.
He's very impatient, it seems like. You know, I kind of saw him saying, I want the game going, while motioning his hands. The ball spot at the 29. Marcus Major, this I formation for the Gophers. They got trips receivers to the right, one receiver to the left. Motioning his tight end Bierman, the toss to Major on the left. He's going to take it up to the 30 to the 35 to the 40, and he will try and cut back, but he's ultimately run out of bounds near the 50-yard line. Really good gain there by Marcus Major, and one of his early touches of the game.
Yeah, beautiful sweep right there. Able to find a gap and proceed past the first down marker. And he's not even RB1.
I tell you, you got two dogs in the backfield like Taylor and Marcus Major. It's a treat to watch up here. Taylor directly behind Brosmer. They're going to fake the handoff. Brosmer looks. He's going to throw it out of bounds in the vicinity of Taylor, but that ball is probably 10 yards too long, 10 yards too high. Incomplete pass. We'll do it again on second and down.
Yeah, I think that was just accidentally letting go of that ball. Obviously, there was some intent with that. He seemed like he had plenty of time in the pocket, though. I didn't really see anyone going right after him.
I agree, and I just think there weren't many routes open. Quite frankly, not many players to look for. He just probably didn't want to sit in there too long and make a mistake. Makes the safe conservative decision. We'll do it again here on second and 10. Major to the right. They're going to give it to him. He's going to work his way up the middle around the big logo M and brought down for third down after a gain of minimal. 3rd and 8, call it.
Yeah, these minimal gains can be a good thing to start off the drive, but when you got 3rd and 8 and you have a quarterback who is 6 of 11 for his throws, only 47 yards on the night, some Gopher fans in the stands might be worried.
Ball at their own 49. We have a 3rd and 8. Darius Taylor motion out to the left sideline. 2 receivers to the left, 3 receivers to the right. Someone jumped on the offensive line. Gophers clearly think there's a lot of pointing. I'll tell you that much. It looked like the defensive line of the Iowa Hawkeyes, number 49, Ethan Herkett, jumped. We will get word here. It's going to be a false start. False start on number 75, Tyler Cooper. And that'll push the Gophers back 5 more yards and make this 3rd down a lot more difficult than it should have been.
Yeah, not what you want to see, especially from a freshman, one of those freshman mistakes.
You can hear mainly the student section, but most of this sold-out crowd scream in agony. Daniel Jackson motions to the slot, 2 receivers to the left, 3 receivers to the right. Brosmer all alone in the backfield. He takes the snap. Brosmer forced to his right. He's going to have to throw the ball away. It'll be 4th down, and the Gophers are going to punt once again.
My apologies, folks. That offsides, or not the offsides, but the, was actually a senior. They changed up our guides, and it tells us how many years they have left rather than what year they are due to COVID eligibility rules.
The Western Australian native Mark Crawford, the 28-year-old, set to punt for this Golden Gophers team. Caden Weegan set to return as a line drive punt. Weegan's going to field it. It's going to let it bounce, and it will be downed at the 1, call it the 2. Great work by the Golden Gophers special teams. Took 2 hops. I believe that's Coy Parrish getting a bunch of taps on the helmet. The Golden Gophers have pinned the Iowa Hawkeyes deep in their own territory. Great punt, great special teams play.
Maybe a chance for a 2-point option right here would be a very interesting way for Gophers to get on the board. And if you look through our media guide, there's actually a section about scorigamis, and 2 points is the cream of the crop when it comes to scorigamis in football.
We'll find out shortly what happens, whether it's scorigami or safety or who knows. We'll be back with you soon. You're listening to Golden Gopher Football here on Radio K Sports. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, Radio K Sports. We're gonna listen from our sideline reporter Jack Barlin, update on Big Ten scores around the league.
Yes, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Golden Gopher football still down 7-0. About 55 seconds left in the first quarter. Northwestern facing off against Washington in what is now a Big Ten matchup. Washington up 17-0 at home. Michigan State and Boston College tied at 0. They just started. Ohio State took care of business today, 49-14 against Marshall. Indiana does the same against Charlotte. Maryland takes care of business against Villanova. Penn State shuts out Kent State. One of the biggest Big Ten games, USC and Michigan. Michigan won that on a 1-yard touchdown late in that game. LSU pulled away in the second half against UCLA. Rutgers over Virginia Tech, and then Illinois over Nebraska in an overtime thriller yesterday.
Thank you, Jack. The Golden Gopher fans are loud. Ball spotted at Iowa's own 2. Caleb Johnson, the lone back, I formation. McNamara under center. The give to Johnson up the gut. He will get the team some breathing room as he pushes it towards the 5 on a halfback dive up the middle.
Yeah, that's about all you can do in that position. Minnesota would have easily been able to get to the quarterback should he have opted to throw it. With the success of the Iowa run game this year, why do anything different?
Excuse me, that was Patterson, the 5'10" running back out of Pompano Beach, Florida, who had the carry, not Caleb Johnson. My mistake. Again, I formation, one receiver to left, one receiver to right. McNamara under center, ball spotted at the 4, 20 seconds and counting. The give to Patterson, he's going to bounce it to the left. He's going to have daylight. He's going up the middle, tripped up, big tackle. Could have been trouble for the Gophers.
Yeah, if not for that play from McMillan, we would have definitely seen another 6 on the board for the Hawkeyes.
It looked like a weak zone draw play. Patterson saw a little bit of daylight and tripped up by the shoestring. McMillan, big, honestly, game-saving tackle early on. He had just green in front of him. Great tackle there. That will end the first quarter. The Gophers trail 7-0 here against Iowa Hawkeyes. We'll be back with you shortly. Please stay with us. You're listening to Golden Gopher Football here on Radio K Sports.
You always say the stupidest things. It's like you don't know how to read. You're always jumping in with anecdotes that don't make any sense, and I am always wondering why. So baby, let me write your lines. Oh baby, let me write your lines. I'd stick my tongue in your mouth to keep your words from coming out. So baby, let me write your lines. At first I thought that you were shy. I dreamed of all the ways your words would blow my mind. But I am finding out the reason nothing's in your mouth is your long hair hides a waste of time. So baby, let me write your lines. Oh baby, let me write your lines. If you could talk to me, we never ever have to sleep. So baby, let me write your lines. You're never ever home at night when I wanna call, and even when you answer, I'm talking to a pretty wall. I guess I'm never on your mind. I guess that nothing's on your mind. So baby, let me write your lines. Baby, let me write your lines. I'd stick my tongue in your mouth to keep your words from coming out. So baby, let me write your lines. Let me write your lines. Let me write your lines. Let me write your lines.
Welcome back to Radio K Sports, ladies and gentlemen. Jack Bartlett, Matthew Zeikert, and Max Waschuk. Joining you up here from the broadcast booth, 7-0 Iowa lead after one. 1st and 10 for Cade McNamara and the Hawkeyes. Under center with running back Caleb Johnson has the lone score of the game. He'll get the toss running out to the left. Good blocking in front of him, but a great tackle coming in from the safety position by the Golden Gophers. Coleman Bryson, or actually that's Kerry Brown, gain of 5.
Yeah, and that's a very nice play by Iowa, but Minnesota able to stop them just a little short of that first down marker due to their defensive strategy.
With the exception of that one big play, this Golden Gopher defense has stood tall against the Iowa offense. Obviously, was much maligned last year about their adventure to find an offense. McNamara dropping back to pass, looking over the middle, fires, caught by the tight end. He's tripped up and looks like he'll be a yard short of the line to gain. That was number 86, or no, 87, Addison Ostrenga. They'll go hurry up here as they look to catch the Golden Gopher defense sleeping. 3rd and 1. McNamara hands it off up the middle, and he'll get the first down. That was Caleb Johnson. So Iowa moves the chains up to the up to their own 26.
Yeah, that hurry-up offense paid off right there, able to just capitalize on that fast movement, get that first down, real easy-peasy lemon squeezy.
That was a good throw by Cade McNamara on second down. He had a couple Golden Gophers pressuring him, had a couple arms up at the line of scrimmage, but was able to see over that, find his open tight end, and give them an easy first down. McNamara under center, one receiver on either side. He will hand it off up the middle. Arm tackle missed by Jaw Joyner, but he's tackled by a horde of Gophers, just a gain of 1.
A horde of Gophers, I like that. What would a group of Hawkeyes be?
Flock of Hawkeyes?
Flock
Surely.
of Hawkeyes, yes.
That almost has a nice ring to it.
I think that was an 80s band.
Something that I'd like to keep an eye on as the game goes on is whichever offense can get stuff moving downfield quicker is going to be the offense that succeeds. Like I said pregame, I want to see more of Elijah Spencer. He had a great game last game for the Golden Gophers and thus far has been quiet from the receiving standpoint of things. And running backs bottled up in the backfield. Great tackle there by Jalen Logan Redding and a gain of maybe a half a yard. That'll bring up a 3rd and 8 for the Iowa Hawkeyes. Today they are 0 for 2.
Yeah, the Hawkeyes have not done great on the 3rd down conversions. Hoping to change that right here. But this Minnesota defense has been strong despite giving up their streak of games where they've held their opponents to 0. They're still in this one.
Gopher crowd getting loud. McNamara with a running back to his left, 2 receivers on the left, 1 alone on the right. Dropping back to pass, looking over the middle, fires, and it's deflected down at the line. Golden Gopher defense stands tall. They'll pile on the ball after the play. Anthony Smith makes sure an Iowa offensive lineman can advance it, and referees say incomplete pass. As is accurate, that's a 4th down for the Hawkeyes.
Yeah, that speaks to how loud this crowd is, where the play was still going on because we couldn't really hear the whistle.
So Dakin punting into the wind. We do feel a significant wind coming from the open end of the stadium towards the student section. That's possibly why Crawford's punt wasn't great, and Dakin's first was a moonshot. The referee asks the game clock operator to reset it. And thus far, it's been one of those classic Big Ten West showdowns. Not much in terms of offense, short field touchdown for Iowa, and other than that, it's been all punts.
And the ironic part about it is, of course, West and East in the Big Ten is no more with the addition of the former Pac-12 schools.
Another moon ball here. Perrick waving for the fair catch and has to back all the way up to the 15. That's an outstanding punt by Reese Dakin. Just continuing in a long line of Iowa punters that just do their job so well.
Yeah, it has been flawless here tonight, even taking in consideration the wind and the temperature. And very good stuff from Iowa's special teams.
We'll head to another break after an Iowa 3-and-out, 11:55. Let's see if the Golden Gopher offense can get the wheels churning, get some first down, and get some points on the board here from Minneapolis. Welcome back, Radio K Sports from downtown Minneapolis. Sun has just about set beyond the horizon. Beautiful sunset and a beautiful day. Air temps about 74. We got a random spotty downpour that may have produced some hail here in Minneapolis around 4 p.m. But otherwise, it's been a unseasonably warm day.
Yeah, and if you remember, week 1, they actually had to delay the game due to weather.
Brosmer with 2 running backs on either side. He'll hand it to Major, who was on his right. Major busting up the gut. He'll get maybe 3 on that play on the halfback power.
Be interesting to see how Minnesota can keep the possession of the ball and not have to punt after 3 and outs. This just seems like a tale as old as time for this PJ Fleck offense against Iowa.
Possession's pretty similar between the two teams. 9 minutes, 20 seconds for the Gophers before this drive. 8:52 for the Hawkeyes. Brosmer shotgun. Takes the snap, tosses it to the right for Taylor. Makes one man miss and is trampled down there by a couple Hawkeyes led by Y.A. Black. That'll bring up another 3rd down for the Gophers. They're 2 for 5.
Yeah, so not ideal in 3rd down conversions, but compared to Iowa, they only have 25% on their 3rd down conversions with 1 of 4.
Brosmer 6 for 12 for 47 yards and the interception earlier on. Daniel Jackson switching to the other side of the formation. Play clock at 5. Couple motions for the Golden Gophers, and PJ Fleck wants a timeout as there was confusion on the play call. That's their first.
Yeah, and you always hate to waste a timeout like that, but that being said, the first half timeouts aren't nearly as valuable as in the second, and with this game only being down a touchdown, I don't think that's the worst move by PJ Fleck. Better to do that than risk a turnover.
I'll agree with you there, Matthew, and better to get a 3rd down and 4 play that you really like, that you think is going to catch the Iowa defense off guard. They have not been off guard much tonight thus far. Something that I'm also keeping an eye on is which team's able to force quarterbacks into mistakes. Brosmer's first interception of the game was not really a forced mistake per se. There was a QB hurry that was tallied on the play, but neither team has been able to get to the quarterback and get them on the ground. They forced Brosmer to evade the pocket and evade some pressure, and the Golden Gophers really haven't made McNamara sweat much at all. 3 receivers to Brosmer's left. Dropping back, looking left, over the middle, and that's broken up. Great play by Iowa's number 27, Jamari Harris, was looking for Brosmer to look his way, swatted his right front hand in front of Daniel Jackson, and another 3 and out for their Gophers. That's their 3rd.
And something that I've noticed, hopefully this doesn't confuse the Gophers. I'm sure it won't, as all these jerseys have been approved by the NCAA. But these maroon jerseys at night, they look kind of like the Hawkeyes black and yellow jerseys.
They do look very dark. The Gophers wearing all maroon with yellow numbering, and the Hawkeyes wearing their visiting whites with yellow pants. Punt is away, received at the 35, cut up the side, and makes a man miss. Does the return man? There's a flag on the play. I think that'll be coming back. Might be a block in the back, might be a holding. We will wait for the call from the referees. That goes down as about a 15-yard return. Flag is on the 40-yard line.
Yeah, there is not a doubt in my mind that that flag is on Iowa.
Referees come together to confer. New return man for the Hawkeyes is Caden Weegan. Of course, not Cooper DeJean. It is a holding against Iowa. Number 2, that is TJ Hall, the defensive back. So that'll back them up from the 35, 10 yards to the 25, I believe, or might be spotted back to the 30 because that was the spotted flag. And it will go back to the 25. That's where Iowa will start their 5th offensive drive.
And it's simple mistakes like that from Iowa that Minnesota needs to capitalize if they want to stick in this one. I mean, 1 touchdown is not insurmountable, but with a defense as great as Iowa's, 2 touchdowns, that might be too much for Minnesota to handle.
It may be. I'm going to agree with you there, Matthew. 10:22 remaining in quarter number 2. Both teams with 2 timeouts left. McNamara under center. Has Johnson behind him. Had a monster game the last couple weeks. He'll get it up the middle. Gain 1, maybe 2 on that. Tackled by Danny Strigo. Gophers have been able to generally do well, with the exception of a 23-yard run by Johnson. They're only giving Iowa 4.4 yards per carry, even with that 23-yard rush. Johnson with 10 carries for 41 yards. Patterson with 3 for 16. McNamara has been thus far not effective, 4 for 7 for just 17 yards.
Yeah, 59 rushing yards for Iowa so far, so you definitely know what the game plan they are using.
2 running back set. McNamara dropping back to pass, fires to his running back, off his hands and incomplete. Was targeted for number 8, Terrell Washington Jr., redshirt freshman out of Wiley, Texas. That'll bring up a 3rd and long.
Yeah, and right there, he's wide open. He's got no one in front of him, and what happens? It just slips right past him.
That's a throw that McNamara would like to have back. Threw it too far outside the numbers, and Washington wasn't able to come up with it. 2-2 receiver set. McNamara dropping back to pass. Gophers bring pressure, force him out of the pocket, and Lindenberg gets him by the ankle and a sack. Just as I was talking about it last drive, and the Golden Gopher defense stands tall, forces another Iowa 3 and out.
Excellent sack by Lindenberg, but something I noticed is that was a very bad snap. McNamara had to go low to the ground trying to recover that ball, and he knew that once he had it in his hand that Lindenberg was fast approaching, tried to get out, maybe get some yards on the ground, but as I mentioned earlier, McNamara not necessarily a versatile quarterback, and he ends up getting sacked.
Got just enough of his shoestrings, did the veteran linebacker from Anoka, Minnesota. Punt is away, high spiraler towards Koiperik, waves to the fair catch signal, and makes the play at the 35.
Some boos in the crowd. Maybe they wanted a flag on that for contact after the fair catch?
I believe so. This will be Minnesota's best starting field position of the night, starting from their 36. We'll head to a commercial break here from Radio K Sports. Still 7-0 after another punt by the Hawkeyes. Welcome back to Radio K Sports. 8:52 remaining, quarter number 2. Gophers get their 6th look at this Iowa defense. Has thus far been 4 punts and the interception.
Minnesota really needs to make a statement with this drive if they want to stay alive into halftime.
Iowa will get the ball to start the second half, but as is evidence, we have a long way to go to get there. Fake the handoff. Throwing left is Brosmer, and that's complete. Daniel Jackson backs into a first down for the Golden Gophers. That's a way to get it started into Iowa territory. First time this tonight.
Yeah, that's been a great move there by Daniel Jackson, able to get in front of his defender, just stops and pauses, turns around, gets that, and then eventually brought down and taken out of bounds.
Goes for a gain of 16 on the play. Really good timing route there by Daniel Jackson. Good throw by Brosmer, on time, on target. And there's going to be another flag. Iowa looked like they jumped, but if the last play is any indication, that's going to go against the Gophers.
Yeah, I only saw Iowa, but I'm guessing it's the Gophers as well.
Aaron Graves came across the line early. And it is on the Golden Gophers again. On Greg Johnson, the offensive lineman this time. So that's not something you like to see. And student section didn't see much. That was the center, is Greg Johnson. So made a head move and tried to deceive them. And the home crowd unhappy about it. I didn't see much there, Matthew.
I didn't either. The replay was pretty convincing that maybe there was a bad call right there. And Iowa defense getting away with one right there.
1st and 10 turns into 1st and 15. Snap to Brosmer. He's throwing left. Again, Daniel Jackson. He slips on the play. He'll be marked down at the Iowa Hawkeye 45. Gain of about 8. So good play coming back there after the false start that maybe wasn't.
Yeah, not ideal that he had to drop because of some wet feet maybe, but as we mentioned, it's a beautiful day outside, just maybe some slippery shoes or something along those lines.
2nd and 7. Jackson in motion across the formation. He's already got 4 receptions for 52 yards. Has been targeted the most, that's 5 times. Brosmer back to pass, looking over the middle. Now fires to Jackson yet again across the 40 to the 42, or to the 38, which is the line to gain. The referees will give him that, and the Golden Gophers move the chains. They're in range of Dragan Kesic so long as they don't go backwards.
Yeah, and this connection between Brosmer and Daniel Jackson has just been insane this drive. I don't know what Iowa's defense is doing, but they need to shut that down if they want to hold them to a field goal.
And this is where those second, third receivers, your Elijah Spencers, your Lemecki Brockingtons, that's where they come into play when Iowa commits to covering Daniel Jackson. Another dropout pass to Major. Good block on the outside by the tight end. I think that was Gears. But Major is tackled by another Iowa Hawkeye, just a gain of 1.
Yeah, and a quick pass right there. Tried to find some space, but came up short and not able to find enough space. And you'll see the replay right here. Decides to go left, but there's 2 defenders and eventually stopped by Lee.
Major in the backfield again to Brosmer's right. 2 receivers bunched in tight. Gears in motion across the formation. Play action. Brosmer looking over the middle, fired, caught by Major. Gain of 4. That'll be a 3rd and about 5 from the Hawkeye 32.
Yeah, and just a dart of a throw right there. Don't have to get fancy with it. Don't want to throw it too high to risk that interception. Found him right in the chest, able to get the quick, easy yards.
Thus far, Iowa's rush defense doing a good job against the Golden Gophers. They just have 8 carries for 38 yards. Brosmer's thrown the ball 18 times already, but just 85 yards to show for it. 3rd and 5. 2-2 receiver set. Major to Brosmer's right. Would be a large conversion. 1 deep safety. Iowa showing pressure. They back off. Brosmer looking left, firing left towards Daniel Jackson. Actually, that's Brockington. Did he get a foot in bounds? What a catch, Lemecki Brockington, all the way down to the 3.
Indeed, indeed. My goodness. NCAA rules being only 1 foot in bounds, and he had that. able to get that red zone play, and now we're not thinking field goal, we're thinking touchdown for these Gophs.
That is an incredible throw by Max Brosmer. An even better play by Lemecki Brockington. Had his cornerback all over him, caught it right in the bucket, was able to drag a foot inbounds, and the referees are going to take a look at whether Brockington made the catch.
Yeah, if you look after the play, he did drop the ball, but
I don't know if they're going to take a look at it. They don't have the big screen. And Iowa is going to challenge it for a completed pass. Head coach Kirk Ferentz said he wants another look. It goes down right now as a 27-yard gain. Longest play of the game for either team. And the referees will take a look at it. We'll be back here in about 2.5 minutes with the decision. Golden Gophers will be kicking the field goal. If it is not complete, if it is, they'll have 4 yards to tie this game up here on Radio K Sports.
sounds good.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Radio K Sports, where all 3 of us up in the broadcast booth were seeing the review. We thought no chance it stands as a completed pass, but the NCAA rules that there was not convincing evidence to show that Brockington did not come down with the ball. It looked like he had it pinned to his right shoulder, and it may have bobbled and even fell out of his hands after he completed it. Brosmer play action, firing to the end zone, and what a catch in the end zone. Jamison Gears mossed his man, and the Golden Gophers put up 6.
What an excellent play. Able to jump almost on top of his defender, grab that catch, and just like that, Gophers are 1 point away from tying up this rivalry.
What a play. Jamison Gears, often known for his blocking, and the Golden Gophers were looking for a replacement for Brevin Spanford this season, as Spanford contributed a lot of offensive production from the tight end position. That is his first touchdown of the season. Kesic's extra point is up and good. So the Golden Gophers answer the bell with easily their best drive of the night. Big play to Brockington that was not overturned after a review, and a 4-yard touchdown for Jamison Gears ties the game up at 7.
Yeah, and now it is a tie ball game One's got to wonder, does Iowa stick with their script? Do they try to run that ball, or do they maybe try throwing the ball a little bit more, kind of returning to that early game mentality? I think both these teams are definitely going to stick with the run, considering that they don't want to do any interceptions, and then they, of course, want to keep possession of the ball. It would be interesting to see what happens the rest of this quarter.
Jamison Gears, that's his second collegiate touchdown, had one last season on just 2 catches for 10 yards. So great to see him getting involved, and that's not something, I think that's not something that the Iowa defense was expecting, is a throw on 1st and goal from the 4 from PJ Fleck, but he dials it up, and it works.
Yeah, sometimes PJ Fleck does flip the script, and most of the times it does work, like we saw right there.
Kesich for his first kick. And that one catch there by the ball boy. And the Gopher defense will have another chance now with the game tied. You wonder if they've got some extra momentum under their feet. That drive for the Golden Gophers, a 7-play, 64-yard drive, took up 4 minutes, 32 seconds, capped off by the Gears touchdown from Brosmer.
Yeah, just one more yard differentiated that drive from that recent kickoff. 65-yard kickoff there from Kesich.
Fans going to get loud as Iowa is headed towards the open end of the stadium. McNamara in shotgun with Johnson to his left. Dropping back, looking right, firing right, and it is almost intercepted. That was bobbled on the outside by Terrell Washington Jr., almost intercepted by the Golden Gophers' Zaquan Bryan.
Yeah, and there was kind of a body in motion, stays in motion right there. He keeps moving. He has the ball just touch one of his gloves, but obviously not able to stop and secure that interception.
That's the second drop for Terrell Washington, who is listed as the 3rd string running back on this Iowa depth chart. 2 receivers to McNamara's right and 2 to his left. Dropping back to Cass again. That's a screen play, and the Golden Gophers snuff it out. Maverick Baranowski wraps up the running back, and he falls forward, dragged by some offensive linemen, but he still loses a yard. 3rd and long for the Hawkeyes.
Yeah, interesting pass there by McNamara, almost akin to spiking the ball towards his wide receiver, trying to get just some amount of yardage. Ends up falling a little short there.
That's a really good play by the Gopher defense. They had pressure on McNamara, as is typical on those screen plays, but Baranowski read the play well, was able to stay home and force Johnson to lose yardage. 3rd and 11. McNamara fakes, now takes the snap, dropping back, looking right, fires right, caught by the tight end, and a tackle made by the Golden Gophers. That's Kerry Brown. No gain on the play, made the tackle on Iowa's number 87, Addison Ostrenga, and Iowa goes 3 and out for the 4th time tonight.
Yeah, that's a super huge stop from Minnesota. 3 minutes left to go. You got enough time here to really make some sort of score. Does it have to be a touchdown? No, it could be 3 points, but they have enough time to really go into this halftime with a lot of confidence.
Historically, the 3rd quarter has not been kind to the Golden Gophers. Punt is away. Perrick, fair catch again. That's on the 32-yard line for the Golden Gophers. So the defense continues to stand strong. It seems like whenever Iowa's in their own territory, their offense is stuck in neutral. As the Gophers will have 2 minutes, 45 seconds, the new 2-minute warning, as well as 2 timeouts to move down the field and try and take their first lead of the night.
Now they've instituted the new 2-minute warning. You think they're going to institute the NFL's new kickoff rules anytime soon in NCAA football?
I'd say that I'd wait to see what the reception is from the NFL this season. Generally, it has not been overly positive.
To say the least.
To say the least, but as with most things, I think with kickoffs, it's pretty hard. Short bubble screen to Daniel Jackson, spins around a tackle and gains 6 on 1st down.
Yeah, Daniel Jackson has been nothing short of great this evening. 59 yards, his 6th reception of the night, able to get upwards of 18 yards after catch.
So the Gophers will stay in the huddle. I think they're going to wait until the 2-minute warning comes, trying to avoid giving Iowa a shot, but I'd try and get at least one more play in there. Iowa also does have 2 timeouts. Iowa would not like to use those, neither would the Gophers, and that'll bring us to the 2-minute warning. 2nd and 4 from the Golden Gopher 38 when we return here from Radio K Sports. 7-7, Gophers and Hawkeyes for the Bronze Pig, Floyd of Rosedale.
Feel the rhythm, feel the rhyme, get on up, it's bobsled time. Could sit and meditate, get into the flow of my breath and get my thoughts in control. Don't know what I'll do next. Think about having sex. I don't know what I'll do.
Back here at Radio K Sports. See if the Golden Gophers can put up some more points before halftime. You know that head coach Kirk Ferentz is a great halftime adjuster for the Hawkeyes. Veteran coach, he's been around for 26 seasons in Iowa with a record of 198 and 120. His 29th season overall, and his head coaching career has 210 wins to 141 losses.
Yeah, very storied history of Iowa, and especially its coach.
Brosmer, shotgun. Looking over the middle, doesn't see anything. Firing deep downfield. Daniel Jackson comes up with another reception. Survives the hit by Iowa's number 30, Quinn Schulte. That is a long gain for the Golden Gophers, well into Iowa territory to the 35.
Excellent way that he read the field with that one. Brosmer able to find the open receiver, only guarded by one man, and of course we had the Hawkeye a little bit to his left, but able to find some space and capitalize.
28-yard gain for Daniel Jackson. He's almost to 100 yards in this half. 7 receptions for 93 yards. Clock stopped at 1:55. Brosmer again, shotgun, dropping back to pass. Look for Jackson now over to Gears. He'll get a gain of 4 down to the 30. Golden Gophers will try and hurry it up. No substitutions in for either side. 2nd and 6.
Interesting how they're utilizing Gears tonight, obviously scoring the 1 touchdown. Just those short plays, he's been really effective.
Brosmer, similar setup here. Iowa Hawkeyes will play 5 wide in the middle. Drops back to pass, looking downfield, firing towards the end zone. Broken up. That is a phenomenal play by Jermari Harris. Daniel Jackson was the intended target, but a leaping one-handed deflection.
And you're going to hear fans wanting a pass interference call on that one. I don't think there's nearly enough contact in this case, especially considering it's a rivalry game, to consider that a pass interference. It looks like he's just trying to make contact with the ball.
Thus far, not many penalties for either team. 1 for 10 for Iowa and 2 for 10 for Minnesota. And Minnesota will take a timeout before 3rd and 6. 1:20 remaining in quarter number 2. Ball spotted on the 30. This is a big play, and that was a good on-target throw by Brosmer. Just better play, frankly, by Harris against Daniel Jackson. Man, would that have capped off an electric first half for Daniel Jackson.
Indeed, yeah, he has just been going off tonight. I don't know what has happened between him and Brosmer, but they just have some sort of connection, able to get all these yards. And as you mentioned, Jackson, so close to that 100-yard mark. If that would have been a catch, he would have easily broken.
Daniel Jackson, 6-foot wide receiver, his last year of eligibility with the Golden Gophers, originally from Kansas City, Kansas, went to Bishop Meade High School there and has spent his entire career as a part of the Golden Gophers.
A rarity in this transfer portal era we live in.
Oh, and it'll get more rare as time goes on, but now we're focused on Golden Gopher football. 3rd and 6. Brosmer has 154 yards through the air. They'll hand it off. Darius Taylor up the middle, gets a block, bounces it outside. He'll have the first down inside the 15, down to the 13, his biggest carry of the night. And the Golden Gophers are in the red zone.
Excellent read there by the running back, able to see that there were Hawkeyes in front of him. What does he do? He tries to get out of bounds, stop that clock. Not only that, he gets the first down.
17-yard gain for the multiple-time Big Ten Freshman of the Week last season, Darius Taylor. 3 receivers to Brosmer's left, Taylor, and a receiver, that's Daniel Jackson, alone on his right. Gears in motion across the formation. Brosmer looking over the middle, fires towards the sideline for Darius Taylor, and he threw that out of bounds. 2nd down and 10 from the 13. 1 minute, 8 seconds.
Last thing Minnesota wants to do is ruin this opportunity, especially with so little time left on the clock. And, you know, the Gophers being historically not the greatest third quarter team, they really need to capitalize on this momentum that they have going here after the first down.
Going towards the students section, wind is blowing well towards them. Looks like it has picked up in the last couple minutes. 2nd and 10, bunch formation. Handoff Taylor, bounces it outside and it is wrapped up immediately there by a horde of Hawkeyes led by Nick Jackson. Gain of 3 to the 10. Clock continues to run. The Golden Gophers happy to let it run down as they can only get a first down getting to the 3.
Yeah, difficult situation here for the Gophers.
Gophers are 4 for 8 on 3rd down, have eclipsed 200 yards on offense through this drive. Brosmer calls an audible. Darius Taylor switches from his left to his right. Iowa loading the box. Brosmer, screen play out to Elijah Spencer, blocking out front, hurdles a man, spins, jumps for the end zone, and he's in! Elijah Spencer, what a play, and the Golden Gophers take a 13-7 lead.
The sheer athleticism of that play, able to jump over a Hawkeye, juke a Hawkeye, and simply maneuver himself into the end zone. One of the best touchdowns I've seen all season from this Minnesota squad.
Hurdles a man and bounces off of an Iowa cornerback, falls into the end zone, and the Golden Gophers punch it in for 6, pending the Kesich extra point. That's what I was saying earlier. Elijah Spencer is going to be a key for this offense in the second half. Kesich bangs through the extra point, and the Golden Gophers take a 14-point lead. But like I said, Elijah Spencer, if I was going to commit multiple men to cover Daniel Jackson. Elijah Spencer has shown himself as the number 2 wide receiver. Just a simple outlet screen for him on that play. Blocking was great in front and downfield. I think Jamison Gears and Daniel Jackson were in with blocks, and a great play to end it. Gophers up 7.
Yeah, 21 seconds to go here in the first half. Iowa certainly not going to do anything crazy offensively. Don't want to risk going down more than 7 into the half, but what a great way the offense has really been spreading the love today for Minnesota. Not necessarily sticking with wide receiver 1 in Jackson, and really, I mean, the 2 touchdowns were scored by guys who didn't see a lot of receptions until they scored their touchdowns.
8-play, 68-yard drive in just 2 minutes and 24 seconds. That's one of the most efficient Golden Gopher drives of the season thus far. Almost all via the right arm of Max Brosmer. Darius Taylor had a big carry in there. As Kesic kicks it away with the win, there's no chance that Iowa's going to return that. Bounces on the first and in Minnesota. And Iowa will start another drive at the 25. I am assuming with 2 timeouts, just 21 seconds to go, and getting the ball after the half, they'll kneel it. We'll see what Kirk Ferentz says he wants his offense to do.
After all his years coaching NCAA football, I don't really see him doing anything wild and outrageous, especially in a rivalry game that means so much to both these schools.
They are going to set up a play. Golden Gopher defense may not have been expecting it. McNamara under center. Johnson behind him. Gives it to Johnson. Up the middle. Breaks free briefly and now up the sideline. Johnson with a big gain across to the 46. And that is not what you wanted to see. He's out of bounds with 14 seconds left.
Yeah, smart play call there by Iowa. Minnesota not prepared to stop the run. And obviously, you're not going to throw it in this case, so I don't really know what the defense was thinking. They weren't lined up for a QB kneel or anything of that sort. They got to get a little bit better when it comes to plays like that.
Good call by Kirk Ferentz. They're going to probably have to get to around the 35 for a field goal. McNamara back to pass, firing towards the sideline, and bobbled in, incomplete. Intended target was Caden Weegan, the wide receiver from Williamsburg, Iowa.
Yeah, that was a nice spiral pass right there. Just a little bit too much oomph on it. And as a result, Iowa finds themselves in some deep trouble with 9 seconds to go in the first half.
2nd and 10 yards to go from the Minnesota 46. Iowa taking their time in the huddle. 9 seconds, 2 timeouts left. They've got time for probably 2 more plays. McNamara shotgun. Gophers playing prevent defense. McNamara looking, firing towards the sideline. Another great tackle there made on the outside. That's Darius Green. Tackle his man inbounds. Iowa will take a timeout with just a second left on the clock. And I'm unsure if McNamara has the arm. The ball's spotted on the 46, so he didn't gain any yardage after Darius Green made a great play.
Yeah, great defensive formation there by Minnesota. If Green's not there, it's an easy first down, able to stop him.
Gophers had 5 guys lined up 10 yards from the line of scrimmage, and 3 guys lined up even farther, 20 yards away, in the classic prevent defense. It works out that time. Darius Green reads the play well. Just a second left, 3rd and 10 from Iowa's own 46. It's either going to be a Hail Mary or a simple run play is what I would guess.
And seeing the success of that first run play, I don't know why they wouldn't run it. The Hail Mary is just way too dangerous this late in the game.
Gophers send 3 defensive backs to the 5-yard line. McNamara's under center. Looks like Iowa's going to run it. And they do. Johnson up the middle into the second level, and he's tackled across the block M by the Golden Gophers, and that'll bring us to the end of the first half. The Golden Gophers get a score late to go up 14-7. We'll be back in about 10 minutes for an analysis of the first half, and get you ready for the second. And it says they're saying for the game operator to put a second on the clock. I don't really know why, considering the play went off, it seemed like, without a hitch. I don't know if PJ Fleck called a timeout beforehand, but
That is strange.
are still saying to put a second back on the clock.
There was, in fact, a timeout taken by Minnesota with the clock at 1 second. So, alas, let another match and start anew.
Well, I guess we will do it again. Same play, 3rd and 10 from Iowa's 46.
Minnesota still got 3 deep.
Line up in the same formation. The worst thing you can do here if you're Minnesota is take a penalty. Toss to Johnson. Bounces it outside, running up the middle, breaks free along the sideline. That's a long gain, but it isn't going to amount to much as time expires. And now the Golden Gophers will head to the locker room. 14-7 lead from downtown Minneapolis. Like I said earlier, we'll be back about 5 minutes before the start of the second half to give you thoughts and analysis from the first and get you ready for the second half. For Jack, Matthew, and Max from Radio K Sports broadcast booth, you're listening to another edition of Golden Gopher Football.
Welcome back to a broadcast of Minnesota Golden Gophers football. I'm Matthew Zeikert, joined by Max Waschuk alongside Jack Bartlett. Minnesota Golden Gophers in this battle for Floyd of Rosedale up 14-7, due in large part to some dynamic playmaking from the offense, and more specifically, just excellent plays when it mattered most.
I mean, going into it, we said, who do we want to see stepping up more? And I specifically said Daniel Jackson. At the half, Daniel Jackson has 7 grabs for 93 yards on 9 targets, with his longest catch being 28 yards. I would say my prediction of him stepping up has been true. But the other thing I want to point out is Max Brosmer, despite that rough start and the interception, essentially gifting Iowa a touchdown. Max Brosmer's got 165 yards for 2 touchdowns, and this is against an Iowa defense that averages 211 passing yards against, so he's well on pace to shatter their averages. And overall, the Gopher offense has looked a lot better in that second quarter.
Indeed they have. In terms of Iowa's offense, a little bit lackluster. McNamara is 7 of 13 and only 16 yards on the day passing. But Iowa rushing has been doing a halfway decent job. Responsible for their sole touchdown today is none other than their star running back.
Yeah, Caleb Johnson, we kind of knew heading into this game would be successful. We saw it with Omarion Hampton on week 1 against North Carolina. But, I mean, Caleb Johnson, most of those yards, I mean, I would say a good portion of those yards came on that last drive with a couple last-second garbage time plays, if you put it that way. But really surprised with McNamara. He's gone 2 straight games with under 200 passing yards and only 16 at the half. He's looking well on pace to be for under 200 yards again for the 3rd straight game in a row. And Iowa seems to be kind of going back to their traditional, stereotypical lack of offense.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they mix it up in the QB room after this game is all said and done. Minnesota and Iowa have both entered the field. And, you know, in terms of average yards per play, Minnesota almost double that of Iowa with 6.2 yards, Iowa with 3.7. What has Minnesota's defense done right to prevent Iowa from doing big rushes?
I mean, it's evidently the secondary. That secondary is shut down that's one way to put it. Iowa's passing game, only 13 attempts, 16 yards. That's roughly a yard an attempt, and basically 2 yards per attempt, 7 completions. It's not looking good for Iowa, let's put it that way. They're getting away with penalties, and their only offensive drive has really been a gift from Max Brosmer. Just a little miscommunication between him and Darius Taylor, kind of a panic play. But it's been the Gopher secondary, and this is a secondary that, like we said in the pregame, is on fire. 6 interceptions the last 2 games. They got a pick 6 in there. They've only given up 7 points in the last 8-10 quarters. This team has been on fire defensively, and we're seeing it right here.
Iowa defense, on the other hand, has allowed 14 points in this first half. They allowed quite a bit of points last week against Troy as well. That being said, that one catch that was near the touchdown area that was reviewed, and it turned out that it was in fact a catch, might draw some ire from some Iowa fans here in the stands.
Well, doesn't it always? Last year we saw the same with the fair catch punt return that was ultimately called a fair catch. That's just the way it is. That's going to be college football. Was it overturnable? Maybe, but we don't know. We'll never know. We're past that. Obviously, as a Gopher fan and Gopher bias here in the booth, we will take that play 10 days out of 10 days. So to me, it's just almost like a roll of the dice. We'll see what goes, but that play was definitely in our favor. And you got to give credit to the pass game. We really thought heading into this game it's run heavy, run heavy. The Gophers have ran the ball 10 times today. We've thrown the ball, Max Brosmer himself has thrown the ball 26 times, 17 of 26 on a 65% completion rate, 136.4 rating. That to me shows confidence in PJ Fleck, which we're not used to. He's trusting Max Brosmer and trusting the quarterback to make plays and lead them down the field. Now, granted, that last drive was kind of in a 2-minute tempo, but you love to see that trust in the quarterback, especially for a transfer. It's the reason why the Gophers are up.
And before we get right back into play, what's one thing the Gophers need to do to stay on top of this one?
I think they got to start asserting the ground game. That was a talking point heading into this. I sound like a broken record, but you can't have your top, in my opinion, your top player, Darius Taylor, have 6 carries, ultimately 7 touches so far. This is a guy who is going to give you 100 scrimmage yards plus per game. He's good for a touchdown. He's the guy your offense kind of revolves around. Now, right now, it's the Daniel Jackson show tonight, and we love this premiere of his breakout game this season, but we need to see more of Darius Taylor, especially with the lead. I would like to see them lean on the ground game a bit more. And how about Marcus Major? 3 carries, 25 yards. If Taylor's a little tired, you can put him in. That's a great 1A, 1B punch.
Indeed, indeed. And just like that, we are back in the game. I'll let you take over play-by-play roles.
Thank you, Matt, as we are set to kick the ball off. Gophers setting up their kicking unit. Kesich walking back. Iowa set to receive. Start of the second half. Gophers up 14-7 in a thrilling first half. Started slow. Gophers found the momentum in the second quarter. Kesich walking up. He will kick it off. We are underway here from Huntington Bank Stadium. Second half. Iowa receives it near the 5 down the right sideline. He's going to avoid a tackle and work his way up to the 27. Returning was number 21 of Iowa, Caden Weegan. Iowa set to take their first drive here of the second half. What do you expect from Iowa here?
Well, I expect them to play the ground game yet again. We saw a very bad start to the game from McNamara. I feel like in order to stay in this one, they got to really pound from the ground and never look back.
It's been working for them so far. Caleb Johnson's got 12 attempts for 88 yards. 7.3, right on par with his averages this season. There he is lined up in an I formation. McNamara set to take the snap under center. First play of the second half, right underway. One receiver to left. In motion is Gill. Left to right. Back again, right to left. Play action. McNamara rolls out. There's the dump off to the tight end, 87. He's going to go to the 50, bounces and bangs around to the 45 for a first down pickup. That was Addison Ostrenga who caught a touchdown last week with 5 grabs for 9 yards. Picks up arguably it is Iowa's largest passing yard gain of the day. Good start for them as they cross into Gopher territory.
Yeah, Minnesota defense a little, too late right there. Eventually getting 3 Gophers on him.
There's a snap. Johnson bounces it to the left. He's going to avoid a tackle down the sideline. He's got room down the left sideline, pushed out of bounds. That'll be another first down, and there's going to be a late flag. It looks like that's going against the Gophers. He was on his way out of bounds. A late hit indeed, and the Iowa 2 plays. They're going to be in the red zone, pending the call, assuming it is a late hit. The Gophers will be taking a personal foul. I believe that is an extra 15 yards after a 17-yard rush by Caleb Johnson. He's over 100 yards for the 4th straight week.
Yeah, and yet again, he goes to the outside. He knows that's where he can gain lots of yards. And right there, just a very unnecessary play there by the Gophers. Just stop him where he's at.
Cody Lindenberg with the foul. I formation, the toss. I believe that's Patterson of Iowa. He goes blocked, chopped. Helmet does come off of 97 of the Gophers D-line.
Yeah, no gain on that play.
There's a toss play to the right. Patterson basically met at the line of scrimmage. He jogs off the field. In substitution is Caleb Johnson, who had to get a breather after that last play. Iowa with the ball, and the Gopher 15, 2nd and 10 in the red zone here. Only 13:38 to go and counting. McNamara in the shotgun. He's got Caleb Johnson to the right. 3 receivers to the left. 1 to the right. Johnson snaps. Looks left. Fires the corner. It is caught. What a catch. That is 87 Ostrenga. Addison Ostrenga takes it to the 1-yard line.
Yeah, ends up diving for that one and is rewarded by that reception just at the 1-yard line. McNamara sees that he is covered. He ends up going a little bit back of his defender who is all in front of him, and that pays dividends.
PJ Fleck is waving incomplete pass. We'll see if they're going to take a look at this. I think they will. Addison Ostrenga, the ball was thrown to the left pylon. It looked a little underthrown by McNamara. Nonetheless, at the moment, the call will be a catch by Addison Ostrenga, who's made 2 big plays already in the second half.
Well, we saw in the first half it takes more to overturn a call than to keep it as is.
So we're looking at the replay here. I think it's more of a question of does he survive the ground on the catch?
That angle isn't necessarily
Helpful, yeah.
helpful to us broadcasters.
Take another look here. Maverick Baranowski was on the coverage. Didn't seem to turn around in time to make a play. The play is overturned. It'll be an incomplete pass. Addison Ostrenga did not survive the ground when making that diving catch. We'll do it all over again. Kind of that's a lucky, fortunate break for the Gophers.
Yeah, don't have to challenge that play. That's just a self-review right there. And that definitely is making a lot of these Gopher fans here more energetic than they were before that catch.
The crowd is riled up. It's a 3rd and 10 at the 15. A stop here would be huge for the Golden Gopher defense, as Iowa's all huddled up thinking about their next play, which I would assume would be a pass play.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta at this point in the game.
McNamara all alone in a heavy set. He's got Gills far to the left, receiver to the right as well behind the tight end. He motions Caleb Johnson to the left in the shotgun. The handoff to Johnson. He hits his own lineman. He's going to bounce to the left. He's got daylight. He's going to go. He's going to score. Caleb Johnson, 2nd touchdown of the game. And just like that, Iowa is creeping back to a tie.
Very tricky there by the Iowa offense. Looking like they're going to pass, and what do? They give it to the running back, able to find that gap. At first, he's going to his right, notices there's wide open space to his left, and then finds that hole. It gets into the touchdown, and now Iowa kicking the extra point.
Drew Stevens set to kick. Like we said, he has not missed a kick at all this year. He's 11-11 extra points, pending this one. That one is true. We're all knotted up at 14. Yeah, but back on that rushing play by Caleb Johnson, you were right. He did misdirect. It seemed as if he ran into his own O-lineman and had to originally going to go up the gut, then bounced left. And good. I would say McNamara was kind of up there looking as a lead blocker, but all said and done, we have a tie game here after a very quick drive, 1:59.
Yeah, that play was akin to like a Madden glitch or something of the sorts. And yeah.
Welcome back to Huntington Bank Stadium. We're just coming off a very efficient and quick Iowa scoring drive capped off by a Caleb Johnson 15-yard rushing touchdown, his second of the day. He is at 120 yards on 14 carries with 2 touchdowns, and he's been their offense all season, and the story has stayed the same here.
And we talked about it going into the break, how Kirk Ferentz is a great coach when it comes to readjusting at the half. Doing that right there, putting 7 points on the board, and now the Gophers have to respond before it's too late.
Stevens to kick it off. Corey Parrish, who's been returning kicks all day, set to return. He waves it off and kneels it 5 yards deep into the end zone, and the Gophers will take their first possession of the second half at the 25.
Yeah, smart play right there. Don't want to do anything too risky, especially considering what happened that last drive. If you fumble it, then you are at risk of going down 7 or 3 or 6. And now Minnesota with the momentum, not necessarily on their side, but an opportunity to build momentum.
Interesting to see what the Gophers have planned here for their first drive, whether they stick with the passing game or just to running. I would say the passing game has been working for them. Brosmer in shotgun. He's got Marcus Major to his left, 2 receivers to the left, 1 receiver to the right. That's Daniel Jackson. In motion is Brockington left to right. Give to Major. He makes a man miss in the backfield. He cuts up the middle. He is going to get a good gain short of the first down marker near the 34. We'll see where they spot it.
Yeah, and a smart gain right there. Stopped at first by the defense and then able to redirect and go almost side to side to his left and pick up a small gain.
They'll place the ball at the 32. It'll be a 2nd and 3 here for the Golden Gophers. Brosmer in the shotgun. He's got Taylor to the left and Major to the right in the backfield. 2 receivers to the right. The snap to give to Major. Major goes up the gut, bounces to the left. He's going to be swallowed up near, probably short of the first down marker. It looks like it'll be a 3rd down.
Yeah, and it's been really fun watching these D linemen and O linemen really get after it. Right there, the D linemen get the best of them and just nowhere to go for the run.
3rd and 2 at the 33-yard line of Minnesota. The Gophers really trying to avoid a 3rd and 3 and out to start this second half. Brosmer's in the shotgun. He's got 3 receivers to the right. Darius Taylor to the left. Brosmer motions in his tight end. They give to Taylor up the middle. He's going to fight for it. It's going to be close.
Does he have it? I'm not so certain.
It'll be close. It doesn't look like it's going to go the Gopher way. The crowd even quiets down here and trying to figure out what the refs will call it. I think it's going to be
looking
short.
like it's short.
The Gopher offense seems to be staying out here on 4th and 1. What do you think of this call?
Well, I like the risk, but at the same time, it might be a little bit too risky.
Heavy set I formation, and there will be a timeout. PJ Fleck will take his timeout, first timeout of the second half here.
Wonder if they're just trying to make him jump off sides and then just kick off.
Well, it's interesting. If they were to do that, you would at least keep the offense out there for
exactly.
a little bit. It was a 5-second decision. PJ Fleck kind of maybe either made up his mind or they want to rethink this or maybe drop another play. We'll see.
Well, with the field position they have, I'm not entirely liking this idea of going for it on 4th and 1.
Yeah, I would say the analytics don't support that play.
Yeah. PJ Fleck is playing like it's a game of college football 25 and not an actual football game if he decides to keep this Gopher offense on the field.
Well, the offense is still, they're trotting back out there. It's a 4th and 1 at their own 34. I would say it's more 4th and inches. Brosmer's lined up. He's got Taylor right behind him. It's a heavy set. Looks like he might do a sneak. They're going to toss to Taylor. He's going to cut back. He's going to get tied up. Does he have it? He's going to lunge. It was a toss
he's got
play.
it.
It was a toss play to Taylor. Taylor initially made a man miss as it was a toss to the right. They're going to move the sticks. It's a go for first down.
And the second that toss happened, I thought, what in the world are the Gophers doing? But eventually he finds a little bit of space, ends up lunging to get past that first down marker, much to the chagrin of the Hawkeye faithful here in the crowd.
They needed an inch, and they made it the most difficult way possible, but it paid off. Brosmer in the shotgun. He's got Marcus Major to his left, Elijah Spencer to the right, Daniel Jackson to the left. The snap. He looks to the right towards Spencer, reassesses, and he panics, and he will be sacked. The Iowa defensive line taking advantage of good coverage, and they gobble up Max Brosmer for a loss.
That will be Iowa's first sack of the game, if I am not mistaken. Minnesota already has one. But yeah, very unfortunate, not necessarily using the best of his abilities in the pocket.
Nobody was open. He looked for the check down. I believe that was Marcus Major, and thought better of it and ended up eating the sack. Brosmer in shotgun. He's got Taylor to the right, two receivers to the left. Bierman in motion left to right. Now runs to the left, the snap. Brosmer looks towards Darius Taylor, finds Daniel Jackson, I believe. That'll be caught at the original line of scrimmage. Gain of minimal, probably 3rd and 10 here.
3rd and 9 is what they decide, and at this point, I think they are going to throw it, but PJ Fleck has done some things that I didn't expect, especially going with it with that 4th and 1, and eventually it was fruitful.
Daniel Jackson's 8th grab for 99 yards. He's having himself the best game of the season when it matters most. Brosmer all alone in the backfield. Taylor lined up to the right along with Daniel Jackson. Then Brosmer's got 3 more receivers to the left. That's Spencer, Callerup, and I believe that's Driver. He motions in Spencer to the slot. Brosmer surveys the middle. He's got time. He's going to fire. That pass is incomplete, broken up, intended for Darius Taylor on a drag route. And the Gophers are going to be forced to punt. That's number 34, Jay Higgins, the linebacker out of Indianapolis with the breakup. And just like that, the Gophers are going to be forced to punt.
Yeah, and he was able to get his hand in between the receiver and the ball. Just excellent defense there by the Hawkeyes.
The pass looked a little behind, and again, it's almost like Darius Taylor and Max Brosmer haven't really been clicking really well when they're throwing the ball, when Brosmer's throwing the ball at Taylor. Gophers set to punt. A high kick. It'll be waved. It'll be caught by Caden Weegan. And the Iowa Hawkeyes will take possession of their second drive in this second half. We'll be back with you guys shortly. You're listening to Golden Gopher Football here on Radio K Sports. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Max Washuk, along with me, Matt Zeikert. Here you're listening to Golden Gopher Football at Radio K Sports. We got a tie game, 14-14 between these two rivals. Iowa set to take their second drive of the second half after essentially walking down the field with ease that first drive. 8:40 to go here in this third quarter. McNamara under center. He's got Caleb Johnson right behind him in the I formation. Toss play. Johnson goes left to right. He stopped at the line of scrimmage for either a gain of nothing or minimal.
Yeah, and rivalry football, these two teams, when they play each other, it's always a matter of one possession or more. Rarely is it more than one possession, and tonight it is just adding to this historic rivalry.
It's lived up to the hype indeed. A sellout crowd here at Huntington Bank Stadium. We got the same formation as before. McNamara with one receiver to the left, one receiver to the right. He's got his elite running back, Caleb Johnson, right behind him. The snap, the give. Johnson to the left, cuts back to the right, and he goes to the middle. It's a gain of 4.
Yeah, not the greatest decision to cut back right there. Ends up falling into his O-lineman / the D lineman of Minnesota. And just like that, Iowa finds itself in another third down situation.
The crowd is getting a little louder here. It's a third down for this Iowa offense. 3rd and 7, in fact, at their own 30. Here's 7:30 and going left in this third quarter. McNamara all alone in the backfield. 2 to the left, 2 to the right. McNamara high steps. He's audibling. He's not really sure what's going on. Now he does. He snaps. He looks over the middle. He throws to the left. That pass is caught. It was up in the air for a while. There's a flag on the play as well.
Yeah, I'm thinking that's defense.
Zaquan Bryan was on the coverage, and it seemed the ball was almost a floater. It seemed in the air to be in the air a lot longer than it should have. We'll hear the call from the referees. That will be against Zaquan Bryan. It is declined.
Yeah, and just a little bit of insult to injury right there, but obviously you decline that play because it was a reception after all. And Iowa moving back to that passing, and it hasn't looked so bad this drive.
Reese Vander Zee with his first catch of the evening for 18. I formation, Gill in motion. The give. I believe that's Patterson. He makes a man miss up the middle. He's going to get just enough for a first down, maybe short. Nonetheless, a great first down run play for the Iowa Hawkeyes.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a matter of inches as they did not end up moving the chains. 2nd and 1 to be more precise. 6:30 left in this third quarter. Iowa's got to capitalize if they want to stay in this.
McNamara in shotgun. He's got Patterson to his left. They're going to give an inside zone run again. It looks like he will have the first down there. His 6th carry should put him at 26 yards. He's done well as a backup to Caleb Johnson's monstrous night of 16 attempts, 124 yards and 2 tuds.
Yeah, and just like that, Iowa and Minnesota's third down conversion percentage just about equal. Minnesota, 45.5% of their third downs have been converted, and Iowa, 44.4%.
Caleb Johnson back in the backfield. McNamara under center, I formation. They give to Johnson. He tries to go up the middle. He breaks free. He's going to go. He's got daylight. Caleb Johnson down the left sideline. He's tripped up, but I don't think it's enough. We'll see what the call. They're calling touchdown. Caleb Johnson, toss your hat out. That's a hat trick, his 3rd score of the evening. Primetime football delivers primetime players. And just like that, Iowa is back on top, 2014.
And going into this one, we knew how important the run game was going to be. In this scenario, he finds open space. Only one defender on him. That was
Coleman Bryson.
Coleman Bryson ends up diving and just barely nicks him until he falls into the end zone for an easy Hawkeyes touchdown.
Drew Stevens remains perfect as a kicker this season. He nails the extra point, and the life has been sucked out of this stadium.
Yes, that is true, but you do have to keep in mind there is still well over a quarter to go, if you will. 5 minutes, 43 seconds left in this third quarter. Actually, now I think about it, quarter and a third is what I should be saying. Not a math major, but without further ado, I say that's as good a sign as ever to go to immediate timeout.
could say was mine. What a display from the gods of nature. And is this love? Oh, the acid. Probably a little bit of both.
We welcome you back here to Huntington Bank Stadium following a Caleb Johnson 40-yard rushing touchdown, his third of the evening, a hat trick, if you will. He's got 17 carries, 164 yards, roughly 10 yards per attempt. He's having a day.
Yeah, and that drive eats up 2 minutes and 58 seconds, but 6 plays, 73 yards. One heck of a run there by Iowa.
Stevens kicks it off. Parrish goes to his right, probably 1 yard deep in the end zone. He's going to take it out. He's at the 10 along the right. Avoids some tackles, but ultimately taken down near the sideline around the 20. The Gophers will take possession there.
I'm kind of befuddled by that decision because you just fair catch it, or not fair catch it, you just let it be a touchback and then you get it at the 25-yard line. Now you have to deal with a little bit more yardage to get that first down, and I'm not really sure why they decided to do that down a touchdown.
Interesting decision indeed by Coy Parrish, the true freshman out of Esco, Minnesota. Brosmer in the shotgun, Taylor to the left, 2 receivers left, 1 receiver to the right. Indeed, his name is Daniel Jackson. In motion is Gears. Brosmer looks that way to the right. He pump fakes. He's going to keep it and carry it. He gets tripped up near the 24-yard line. Not too shabby of a play if you didn't see anything open. Nonetheless, it'll be second down.
Yeah, I don't really like that play, though, because that jeopardizes the safety of your quarterback. And in that scenario, there could have been a million different things that could have gone wrong, and he could have seriously gotten injured. Minnesota needs to make sure that they're protecting Brosmer at all costs.
Gophers have not been running the ball as much, probably due to that good defensive line and rushing defense that the Iowa Hawkeyes have. Brosmer in shotgun. He's got Marcus Major to his right. He takes the snap. Brosmer looks to the left. He fires to Gears. That's off the hands, ultimately incomplete. We'll be looking at a third down. That's coverage by number 10, Nick Jackson, the linebacker out of Atlanta, Georgia. It'll be third down.
And yeah, I mean, a 3-and-out after Iowa scores would be very detrimental to this Minnesota offense. And this is the Minnesota team in general. It makes the defense have to work a lot harder than they really should have to.
4 minutes, 54 seconds to go here in the third quarter. Gophers trail by a score, a touchdown that is, at their own 24. 3rd and 7. Brosmer all alone in the backfield. 2 receivers to the left, 3 receivers to the right. Brosmer motions in Spencer. Brosmer looks to the right. He fires to the right. Gophers will be looking to punt again. And a really brutal start to this second half.
Yeah, not what you wrote up in the locker room if you're PJ Fleck right there. He doesn't necessarily have triple coverage, but he's stopped by one Hawkeye and the other Hawkeye behind him. And eventually it just gets to a point where there's no chance for him to make that reception. As a result, 3-and-out for the Gophers.
Mark Crawford standing at the 9-yard line, set to punt. Caden Weegan set to receive for the Iowa Hawkeyes. Crawford sends a punt. It'll be fair caught near the 38. And that's where Iowa would take over for their third possession of this second half. We'll be back with you guys shortly. You're listening to Golden Gophers football here on Radio K Sports.
Sometimes it's best to ignore all the sights and the sounds the people and their frowns. Make your little bunker things you've read and found. If you know of life fed off of you, the people, the trees, the things we can't see, would you still mosey about, dragging your feet? Would you dance? Can't afford to see the medicine man, so I become my own medicine man. We don't need no love, we got diamonds. We don't need no bread.
We're back here live at Huntington Bank Stadium where the Gophers trail Iowa Hawkeyes 21-14 here with 4:42 left in this third quarter. Iowa takes possession of the ball here with their third drive set at the 38-yard line.
Yeah, wonderful field position for a team that's already up a touchdown. At this point, it's Iowa's game. It's theirs to lose.
McNamara alone in the backfield, one receiver to the right, two receivers to the left. He motions Caleb Johnson, who's got 3 touchdowns, to toss to the the right, and he will be met by a couple Gopher linebackers after a short gain.
Yeah, and to me, the center didn't do a great job of snapping that ball, but it really helped that it was just a simple play there, able to toss the ball, not really worry about having to do anything dangerous.
Hawkeyes go quick. McNamara dumps it down to his tight end. They should have enough for the first down. Nope, they do not. I believe it's short. Third down, excuse me. Catch was made there by number 88, Hayden Large, the fullback. And the Gophers now have a chance to get a good quick stop here, 3rd and 2.
Yeah, we knew it was going to be a punt-heavy game, but this many punts, it's a sight to behold.
Caleb Johnson not in the backfield. It is the backup Patterson lined up to the right of McNamara. He's got 1 receiver to the left, 2 receivers to the right. 3rd and 2. He motions in Gill. Right to left. The give. Patterson up the middle. He's going to have enough for the first down. Tackled near the 49 of Minnesota, and they will move the chains.
Yeah, just a gimme there for Iowa, able to get past that first down, but it looks like we have a player that's rushing to the sidelines with a bit of an injury. Yep, that will be number 12, Darius Green, the D-back for the Minnesota Golden Gophers.
Iowa, another I formation. Caleb Johnson in the backfield right behind McNamara under center. He motions Gill left to right. That's jet sweep to Gill. He's got space. He should have the first down. Tackled near the 40 on the right sideline. Creative play there by the Iowa Hawkeyes. It'll be a 9-yard gain, 2nd and 1.
Yeah, and they like to get plays to where they only have to have a small amount of yardage to get the first down. Here yet again with 1 yard to go. Minnesota's D-line's got to be on top of this and stop the run.
Jacob Gill's been in motion all night, seemingly every time they're set up in the I. McNamara in the shotgun. Caleb Johnson to the left again. 1 receiver to the right, 1 receiver to the left. The give to Johnson up the middle. He's going to bang and crash his way for the first down. Tackled near the 35 of Minnesota. And just like that, the Hawkeyes are rolling once again.
Yeah, Minnesota needs to put a stop to this formation. It just seems like every time they run that play, they get easy yardage, and their D-line just can't compete with the powerful Iowa O-line.
Excuse me, that was Patterson on the gain, the backup to Caleb Johnson. Patterson's got 8 carries for 38 attempts, roughly 5 yards per. Another I formation, Gill to the left. Johnson right behind McNamara, the handoff to the left to Johnson. He's going to follow his blockers. He's going to lunge, almost jumps, but gets chopped down for a gain of a few. It'll be second down.
Yeah, and usually when they move on the outside, it's been very beneficial for them, and they've gotten some really large gains from it. That time, Minnesota able to stop them short of the first down.
Caleb Johnson's been a bell cow today. He's been the top dog. You insert the metaphor. That's who he's been. He's got 21 total touches for 169 yards and 3 touchdowns. If you were playing fantasy football in college, this guy is going to win your matchup. The fake give. McNamara rolls out to his right. He looks. He's being chased down. Incomplete pass. That pass was intended for Hayden Large. Chased down by number 97 on the D-line, Jalen Logan Redding. And just like that, the Gophers have set themselves up for yet another third down opportunity to stop this Iowa offense.
Good defense right there, but I wish they would have been a little bit more aggressive towards McNamara. It's been shown time and time again he's just not a good rushing quarterback. That could have easily been a sack.
Iowa has been 50-50 on these third downs, 50%, 5 of 10. They are in the I formation again. Jacob Gill to the right. That's the receiver who's been in motion. Caleb Johnson directly behind McNamara in this I formation. McNamara under center. The crowd is loud. They give to McNamara. He goes up the right, cuts back to the middle. He should be short of the first down. It'll be fourth down, and Iowa, all likeliness, will set the kicking unit out, where Drew Stevens is 5 of 5 as a kicker this year. This is his 6th attempt. Maybe he goes 6 for 6, maybe not. We'll see.
And it's the first field goal attempt we see all night.
Very true. Stevens is perfect as an extra point kicker today, 3 of 3, adding on to his perfect resume so far in this young season. The ball is at the 28. The spot's about the 36. This should be a 46-yarder if my math is correct. Gill, the kick is up. It is good. Drew Stevens continues to be perfect as a kicker, and Iowa extends their lead to 24-10 here with 43 seconds to go.
Yeah, with 43 seconds to go in the third, up 10. That's a huge momentum push for Iowa. Now it's making Minnesota really rethink what they got to do coming up in this fourth quarter, and to some extent in the third, to right this ship.
And quite frankly, it's been a complete 180 in terms of momentum and just play style. It looked like that first half, the only reason Iowa scored was because of a Gopher miscue, and they had nothing offensively, and all of a sudden, it's the other way around. Iowa's just having their way with this Gopher defense, mainly through the ground. And the Gophers have had nothing to show for it offensively.
Yeah, quite literally.
Boyd Parrish once again set to receive this kick. Drew Stevens, who just nailed his 6th consecutive make, will be kicking this ball off. And the Gophers here with 43 seconds to go in the third quarter need to get something going. The kick from Stevens. Parrish is going to return it around to the goal line on the right side. He's at the 10. He goes to the 15, gets a block. He will be met by a bunch of players at the 20-yard line, and the Gophers will once again take it at the 20. Very similar to that last kickoff that the Gophers received.
Yeah, and I mean, I hate to sound like a broken record, but we are a bunch of broken records up here. At this point, why don't you just let the ball drop and just take it at the 25? Those small amounts of yards can make up such a big difference in a crucial game like this.
Gophers 5 yards back than where they could have been. 4 yards back. Ball spot at the 21. All likeliness, this could be the last play of the quarter with 37 seconds to go. Brosmer in the shotgun. I believe that's Taylor, who is left. Spencer to the right. Jackson to the left, receiving-wise. Brosmer waits. He hands it off. He fakes it. Brosmer looks down deep in the middle of the field. That's Jackson. The ball was either thrown short. Nonetheless, it's incomplete. Coverage there by number 30. That's Quinn Schulte, the defensive back out of Cedar Rapids, Iowa, hometown native. Gophers will have to do it again on 2nd and 10.
Yeah, I don't really understand why he targeted that receiver. If you looked farther down the field, there was an open man, but I think it was just a matter of the defense pressure, and he was not able to really do that extended throw.
There was a single-man coverage on Cam Spencer, who seemed to be streaking down the field. You're right. It was whether time was there time to get it off. Brosmer the shotgun, Major to the left. Darius Taylor to the right. Brosmer looks to the right. He's going to throw deep ball and roughly a 25-yard pass. Elijah Spencer, was not on the same page with Brosmer. We're going to be on 3rd and 10 here.
And there you basically had the opposite of what happened before. Darius Taylor was wide open with, could have been easily a first down right there, but they ended up going for the long pass, maybe just out of regret, but could have easily been a first down right there.
Christian Driver checks in for Marcus Major. Christian Driver, the son of Donald Driver, a Packers great receiver. Brosmer seems to be in the shotgun. He will be. Darius Taylor to the right. One receiver to the right, 3 receivers to the left here. 3rd and 10 at their own 21. The Gophers, can they get a first down? They will run the ball with Darius Taylor, and he will be met at the line. Very interesting play call there by PJ Fleck, and the crowd's going to let him hear it.
Yeah, I don't know what would possess you to do a run play with that field position and with 10 yards to go to get a first down.
It doesn't make sense. You threw the ball essentially every play this third quarter, it's felt like. You haven't ran the ball. And in a 3rd and 10 where the last play of the quarter, you're going to run the ball?
Yeah, it seems very, very counterintuitive to say the least.
And just looking at the student section, a lot of the fans have kind of given up, and they're going to go and continue with their festivities tonight. We'll be back with you guys. End of the third quarter, Iowa up 24-14. We'll be back with you shortly. Start the 4th quarter. You're listening to Gopher Football here on Radio K Sports.
Welcome back, Golden Gophers Sports. 4th quarter, and the Golden Gophers are slowly running out of opportunities. Crawford readying his 3rd punt of the second half. Golden Gophers with just 14 yards of offense and have gone 3 and out twice. Punt is away towards the 40-yard line, received there by the Iowa return man, and he's forced out of bounds near the 48. But at this point, you just got to keep him out of field goal range for sake of just giving the offense a chance. It seems like Iowa had all the answers. Like I mentioned and have mentioned throughout a couple broadcasts, Minnesota historically struggles a lot in the third quarter. We saw it play out in spades there. We're outscored 17-0. Nothing going on offense and couldn't make a stop on the ground defensively.
And the interesting thing there, Jack, is McNamara only had 3 completions. So it's been a Caleb Johnson show tonight, and there's nothing the Gophers have done to stop him.
I think the Golden Gophers may need a turnover on this possession if they want to stay in this game, because Iowa can run all they want, and there's a gaping hole on first down. Johnson up the sideline all the way down inside the 20, and that's exactly not the way you wanted to start.
Caleb Johnson.
Just a gaping hole there. There's no excuse for that when you've got 5 down linemen.
And I wonder, they've been sticking to the game plan the whole game, so it's not like the game script or game plan really changed. I just think lack of tackling for the Gophers, just setting up in poor formations. They have to anticipate the run at this point. Johnson's he's 206 rushing yards. He's 21 carries. Like, they're going to run the ball.
They're going to run it until Minnesota proves they can stop it. 31 carries for 240 yards, 7.7 per carry as a team. Johnson himself, 21 for 206. Play action, end around, almost a tackle made in the backfield by Anthony Smith, and on the end of the end around, that's Weegan. He gains about 5. And we have a Golden Gopher down on the field. A little slow to get up was Maverick Baranowski. I think he ended up with a football, but I believe Weegan was down by contact. Anthony Smith almost made an incredible play in the backfield.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing Iowa. If it's not Caleb Johnson running the ball, we saw Gill on a jet sweep and now Weegan on an end around. They're going to run the ball, and that has to be understood by P.J. Fleck in this defense.
2nd and 4 from the 13. McNamara shotgun, hands it off again up the middle, and that's down to the 9. That should be enough for a 1st and goal. Or that will give Iowa, I believe that'll give Iowa a fresh set of downs. No indication from the referees, and the chain gang has not moved in. Now they will vacate the premises. 1st and goal from the 9.
That was Patterson, the backup. I mean, he's kind of been an underrated piece to this team. We know Johnson's been a bell cow, but Patterson's given his fair share. His 9th carry for 41 yards. A very solid backup.
12:50 remaining 4th quarter. McNamara out. Into the game is Brendan Sullivan, the backup quarterback. He takes the carry down to the 5 and is stopped there by a horde of Gophers after a gain of 4. First time we've called his name tonight.
Interesting, a little off, not off topic, but it reminds me of kind of the Bears' Justin Fields rookie year. They bring him in for a little QB keeper, whether that is for athleticism. We haven't seen McNamara do much on his legs today, but they once again running the football.
I actually like this. This is a creative offensive scheme where you put in the running quarterback in Brendan Sullivan when you get down in the red zone and goal-to-go situations, so the defense has another guy to keep track of. Sullivan under center. Will hand it off to the running back up the middle, and no signal yet. Looks like he was close to the end zone. Referees look like they're marking him about a half-yard short. That was Patterson on the carry again, but the Golden Gophers will certainly have to make a pair of stops from the half-yard line.
This is it right here. I mean, this determines, quite frankly, how many of the fans stay in the game, which is the sad part. Iowa has a real good opportunity to just punch the Gophers in the throat right here.
And after such a good first half, you just wonder where the magic went. At the end of the day, if Iowa does put it in here, that's a 31-14 lead. That seems near insurmountable, as the previous play is going to be under review to see if he crossed the plane. Ball spotted on the half-yard line.
We've had a lot of reviews today, whether that is for a catch or touchdown, so not very surprised at this point. See if Patterson, I'm probably reviewing if he broke the plane, I would imagine.
One thing that we have not seen a lot of today that we have seen in the first 3 games is penalties. Iowa just penalized once thus far for 10 yards. Gophers with 4 for 30.
Very interesting, and a lot of those penalties for the Gophers, at least for mine, I remember there was a one defensive pass interference, which didn't matter, ended up being a catch, and a lot of false starts. That's really been the main. That's really been the name of the game for in terms of the laundry being thrown on the field. But
Looked like he was short. At least that's the initial view I'm seeing. Jack Henderson was in on the tackle.
haven't called Jack Henderson's name a lot either tonight. He's been outstanding the last 2 weeks.
We have not.
He had the pick 6 against Rhode Island, 2 sacks, I believe, against Nevada.
I mean, you got to give credit to Iowa. Their offense shutdown was completely asleep in the second half, or really in the second quarter. There was a streak where they punted 4 times in a row and then had that drive to end the half. The runner is short of the goal line, but they do have it on the half-yard line, so basically the Golden Gophers are going to need a miracle to stop the Hawkeyes on back-to-back plays.
Yeah, I was going to say, no doubt, 4-down territory, no matter what. You're up 10. It's essentially the ball is placed at the goal line. I don't see why you wouldn't. I mean, assuming they don't get it here, they would definitely go for it again. We'll see.
Sullivan under center. Tight end in motion, will push him. Stood up, and one referee says he's in, the other one confirms it.
There you go. As I'm looking at the student section, and on both levels, a lot of the fans are heading out. Just an unfortunate last 20 minutes of football for the Golden Gophers on both sides of the game, both sides of the ball.
Yeah, it looks like he was stood up just at the line to gain. And down on the field for the Golden Gophers is number 43, Eli Mao, backup linebacker. PJ Fleck runs over. He's laying in the end zone. Right now it'll go as an Iowa touchdown.
Iowa's just been, and it's interesting to me, is Iowa, I don't think they threw the ball that drive, not once.
Nope.
And it kind of begs the question is, are the Gophers, they have to be aware that the ball will be run or ran. And to me, it's just, obviously we don't like to see a player down on the field in a situation like this in a big game. But you got to wonder what is going on through the defensive coordinator, PJ Fleck's mind. Like, why are we not on top of this run defense?
Yeah, and even there's blame to be shared on both sides of the ball. I mean, the defense hasn't made a stop yet in their 4 second-half drives. Their best stand was just holding Iowa to a field goal, but like you said, McNamara has been essentially a non-factor. 10 for 18 for 59 yards. He's been a game manager in the truest sense of the word, and Iowa knew what their game plan was, especially coming out of the locker room in the second half. Saw the Golden Gophers not stacking the box and saw how successful their run game was at times. Took the ball out of McNamara's hands and have put up a lot of points here in the second half.
And interestingly enough, time of possession is relatively similar. Iowa's just under 25 minutes and the Gophers are just under 24 minutes, but it has not felt this way. It's almost been like the Gophers dominated this first half and Iowa has more than dominated this second half.
Outscoring them pending the extra point will be 24-0 in the second half. Gophers came into the half up 14-7, and now they'll go down 14-31. They're going to need a miracle here from Minneapolis. We have seen some miracles in the past, but just based on what we've seen, there's not a whole lot that points to that. We'll take a break, 11-13 remaining fourth quarter, as the Golden Gophers look to get back in the game when we return. Welcome back to Radio K Sports. Golden Gophers find themselves in a deep hole, 14-31. Iowa this half has run 25 plays, just 5 of those via Cade McNamara's right arm through the air. He's 3 for 5 for a shade over 40 yards. Kickoff is away. Perrick returns it from the edge of the goal line, and he's stuffed there before the 20. But 5 plays out of 25 have gone through the air. A couple big play action passes to the tight end. Most notably, Lachey and Ostrenga this half. Ostrenga has the longest reception of 20 for the Hawkeyes. But at the end of the day, it's the run defense. It's the defense's inability to stop Johnson, Patterson, make tackles. And it's not even making tackles. It's just filling holes. Like on Johnson's large carry on the last drive, gaping hole wasn't touched. Brosmer back to pass, out to the flat for Spencer. He stays on his feet and fights for an extra yard or 2. That'll be a gain of 7 on the first play. Better start there.
We'll be seeing a lot more passing, and we haven't called Daniel Jackson's name much in the last bit. He had a great first half, 7 grabs, 93 yards, and really has only had 1 catch since then. They got to get him going.
2nd and 2 from the Gophers 27. Gears in motion, toss to Taylor up the right side, and he's going to get maybe 1 on the play.
Is this 4-down territory for the Gophers?
Absolutely. If you're this close to the first down at the Golden Gophers, at this point for the Golden Gophers, it is 4-down territory almost no matter what. Iowa still has 3 timeouts. Gophers have 2.
It's a real shame. You know, coming off a great 2-minute drill to end the second half, Gears with a great catch. It's a real shame the way the second half has turned out.
Brosmer up the middle on the quarterback keeper. He's going to fall forward, and the Golden Gophers get a first down. Also notably, I don't know in terms of air yards downfield what Brosmer's farthest pass is of this half. There was one where tried to find Daniel Jackson, or actually maybe it was Elijah Spencer over the middle and threw it just behind him. But thus far, since the deep bomb to Lemeke Brockington and the early one that was out of bounds to Daniel Jackson, I have not seen him take a shot very far downfield, and Iowa's been able to play man coverage mostly. Brosmer, short pass out to the flat for Taylor. Tries to stiff arm his way through a man, slips up. That's a gain of 3.
Believe that's Quinn Schulte. We've called his name a couple times with the tackle. Good wrap-up tackle on Taylor.
Gophers go hurry up, 9:04 remaining. They're down 3 scores at this point. Brosmer firing sideline. Brockington the catch. That'll be another first down as the Golden Gophers get to the edge of Iowa territory.
It's just plays like that, Jack. It really is. That was the missing thing. That was what they were doing that second quarter. That's what was missing the third quarter. Get more of that. And there's not much time, but let's carry over momentum going into Ann Arbor.
There is a certain bit of guessing that has to take place. Daniel Jackson with another catch for a first down. Iowa looks like they're kind of in prevent defense mode. They don't want to give up a quick score, but 2 Golden Gopher first downs in rapid succession get them down to Iowa's 39.
I believe that'll put Daniel Jackson over 100 yards. He's had his best game of the season by far. Unfortunately, the score is not in favor of the Gophers, and this is not their best performance.
Brosmer shotgun. Tight bunch set to either side. Brosmer fires over the middle. It's deflected and intercepted. Off the hands of the tight end, returned by Iowa's number 30. That's Quinn Schulte. We've called his name a couple times. That was off the hands of Jamison Gears, and that's really not Brosmer's fault.
And that's just the way the game's been going the second half. Brosmer, yes, he has not made the greatest decisions there. That was a good decision. Tight end down the middle of the field, found the seam. Just right off the hands and right into the cookie jar of Schulte, and that's Brosmer's second interception of the evening, and Iowa's defense they're driving the fans out of the stands. Let's just put it that way, Jack.
Yeah, they're going to take Floyd back almost certainly. We'll take a break here from Radio K Sports. 7:56 left in quarter number 4. Back here on Radio Case Sports, Golden Gophers throw another interception after it goes off the hands of Gopher tight end Jamison Gears and into the awaiting arms of Quinn Schulte. Another run up the middle, gain of 5 on the play. That was that was Patterson again. Tackle made by Coleman Bryson.
An Iowa team that averages 243 rushing yards per game is well over 260. So safe to say they have not gone away from the ground game, and they have stuck to the script, and that has worked out for them very well.
So Iowa pretty much just going to run out the clock here. Gophers not looking to take any timeouts. McNamara hands the ball. No, he'll fake it. Tries to throw outside towards his tight end. Great tackle there. Strong tackle on the edge.
I believe that was a fullback, Hayden Large. He's had a couple receptions tonight. I believe that's his second grab.
It'll be 3rd down and 3. Hawkeyes need to get to the 49 of the Golden Gophers.
I would assume this would be another run.
Quinn Schulte's 4th career interception. He's had 1 each of the last 3 seasons before this year. Has seen actions in every year since 2020. Another run up the middle. Gopher helmet pops off. They do make the stop. And looks like a wide receiver for Iowa. That's number 5, Jacob Gill, is slow to get up.
Seems
a Golden Gopher is also down on the ground. That might be
Darius Green, it looks like. If I'm not mistaken, maybe I'm...
That might be Devon Williams. Thought it was number 9. His is the one. His is the helmet that popped off. Iowa will have a 4th and 2 on their own 49. As it looks like Gill has gotten up, but the injured Gopher is still down on the ground laying on his back. We'll come back, media timeout, give you an update on the injured player, and the Golden Gophers will get the ball back. 6 minutes, 21 seconds in the fourth. Welcome back to Huntington Bank Stadium. Iowa getting ready to punt it away on 4th and 2. This is their first punt, first non-scoring drive of the second half.
Which is baffling to me. They've just been running the ball down the throats, quite literally.
Their 5th 3 and out. Back to work is Dakin. Dakin high spiraling punt. And the Gophers have run into Dakin. I think that was Jodge Joyner. And that's going to be a first down for Iowa.
Sums up the game. Sums up the second half, quite frankly.
That is against Jodge Joyner. So that play results in a first down for Iowa.
And you can hear the Iowa fans who did travel here all scream in unison.
I mean, there's more black and gold in the stands than maroon right now.
The maroon and gold faithful. There's not many of them. See a lot of security near the student section, actually, as a matter of fact.
So Iowa will have 1st and 10 from the Minnesota 46. 5:43 remaining. And it's partially a reflection of PJ Fleck's coaching tenure, but in fact, my friend who just shot me a text brought up a good point that if you're a Minnesota football team, as Iowa runs the ball up the outside, goes Patterson yet again, gain of 5. If you're Minnesota and you're one of the lower tier teams in the Big Ten right now, in the new era of the Big Ten with these 4 additional teams who are generally pretty good, in the era of the NIL deals where players are constantly seeking more money from better teams, better players, better coaches. How, as a Minnesota team, are you supposed to improve? Those improvements have to come from within. Part of that is on PJ Fleck for recruiting these guys, but also part of it is on the athletic department and how much they are willing to pay some of these players to come play for them. Another run up the middle goes for 2 yards.
That's a good point, Jack. I mean, you look at a lot of the programs that, so-called have turned it around. It's a culture thing, too, at the end of the day. So PJ's been here for more than enough time to understand that if something's got to change, it's got to be through him. And we have not, how are you supposed to improve? That's a great point.
And I think the bigger question going forwards is, how can you not just find some diamond in the rough, maybe a Koi Parrish or somebody that comes out of nowhere on the Golden Gophers that makes a huge impact for the team? How can you get them to stay? Another run up the middle for Iowa. Looks like he's going to be down at the line to gain. Jaw Joyner still getting fired up. Had to exchange some words and maybe a push and shove against Jennings Dunker, one of the offensive linemen for Iowa. They'll move the chains and get another first down, but you're going to have to find multiple diamonds in the rough, and especially in such a big division like the Big Ten that's so stacked with talent.
I mean, it
just to compete again.
It just expanded. We just got 4 new Pac-12 teams. One of them was just in the college football championship last year. Oregon seems to be bringing in new players, and they have it almost, the joke of unlimited money and limited uniforms. Like, you're competing against the best of the best, and here we are struggling against Iowa.
Another run up the middle. Looks like Patterson's going to be the down back for Iowa. I believe that Caleb Johnson's night is done, but he did plenty. 21 carries for 206 yards, 3 touchdowns, a long of 40, and an average of 9.8 yards per carry. But continuing this conversation on the future of NIL and the future landscape of college football, many people thought that NIL would bring parity to the league by offering players substantial compensation if the schools are willing to invest, kind of also giving the college football players some kind of blowback. I think is a good idea, but I believe that NIL may not be the answer. Another handoff going up the left side, and tackle made there by the Golden Gophers' Ethan Robinson. I don't know if NIL is the answer, because I think we'll see as the years go on that these popular programs, your Alabamas, even without Nick Saban, your Georgias, your Ohio States, your even Michigan in a down year. All of these top teams are going to attract large talent because they invest all of the money that they've gotten through NIL deals immediately back into more NIL deals, more football. Football's never really been, in the last, call it 50 years, a huge program here in Minnesota. All of their national championships have come well in the past. They haven't won a Big Ten championship since 1967, and it just hasn't been a culture of football at Minnesota, and I don't really think that NIL is going to help that.
And to your point, it almost feels like NIL is like a free agency. And even with the transfer portal, too, I know that's been a lot more popular lately. It just doesn't feel like the old traditional college football of recruitment, work your way up. It's like the player now has more say than the actual programs.
They do. And I'm very interested to see how the rest of this season goes. Obviously, I'll still be here for every game of it. I'll still be cheering on the Golden Gophers, but when the season is all said and done, regardless of what record the Golden Gophers end up with, there's going to be more questions than answers after this season. I still do believe that.
Well, and it's funny we're having this conversation in week 4, the first Big Ten matchup of the year, but to your point, this is the first of many big game, well, at least high competition games. We go to Ann Arbor next weekend. The USC Trojans, the newly added team, will be our first former Pac-12 team we face off here during family weekend. And then I believe UCLA, next home game is at Maryland. There's a bye week in between there. I mean, the list goes on. So the Gophers will be facing a lot of talent, which in my opinion is better than here Iowa. On the road, some at home, but this was a gut check game. Quite frankly, are you prepared? Are you ready? First half, the Gophers looked like they were ready to possibly be in the top 25 conversation. Not in the top 20, but top 25. And this second half, we're having a reality check. We're really digging deeper and thinking about this.
Yeah, and total for the Gophers, they had 222 yards in that first half, only 278 total now. So doing some quick math, that's 56 yards on 4 drives.
4 punts.
4 punts and the late interception by Brosmer. They've only had 2 drives in the fourth quarter, a 3 and out, and then the interception. Haven't really had the ball much. Iowa's starting to move farther and farther ahead in time of possession as we went to the 2-minute warning and just kind of continued on talking through it. 3rd and 4 coming here from the Golden Gopher 30.
I don't see Iowa being very aggressive. They will probably run the clock out. I wouldn't be surprised if this is somewhat of a 4-down territory just in terms of ending the game and running the clock out. Let's see how they handle this if they pick up this first down.
Yeah, you can even hear Alexio Hawks coming from the
Sounds like I'm at the
stands.
United Center. This isn't Chicago, man. Let's Go Hawks stays at the United Center with Patrick Kane and Taves, even though they're gone.
Sullivan in at quarterback, hands it off, and a loss of a couple yards. Give another opportunity for Drew Stevens. This will be a long one if he does trot out on the field. Looks like he won't.
I think Iowa's just playing. Well, no, they're just
No?
bringing in more heavy, more weight. Looks like they're going to be running. Well, who knows? Maybe they wind the clock down.
Yeah, try and get a first down here or there. Iowa has not gone for a 4th down. Golden Gophers were 1 for 1. Had that short conversion this half.
Oh, the toss play to Taylor had
The
a lot
toss.
of us scratching our heads going, what?
Yeah,
Nonetheless, it worked out. It was a little bit scary.
worked out, but really didn't matter much in the end. Snap back, and looks like the quarterback will just fall down. He's down there by, that was Kerry Brown. That'll go as a sack and a turnover on downs for the Hawkeyes, but with 1:12 left, doesn't much matter at this point. Other places around the Big Ten, Michigan State and Boston College tied at 16 with 5 minutes, 53 seconds left in the fourth, and then Purdue, the only other Big Ten team in action, currently down 17-7 against Oregon State. The game that finished, Washington beat Northwestern by a little bit of a funky score, 24-5.
Is that a scoregami I'm hearing? Potentially?
Potentially.
Potentially? We'll
Go-
check Twitter later, maybe.
Gophers will, I believe they will not see the Wildcats this season. Check me if I'm wrong on that. No, they will not. Brosmer still in the game, hands to Taylor up the middle, gain of 3.
And, I mean, I feel like a liar. You know, in the pregame, me and Matt were talking about who are the guys to watch. I thought Darius Taylor was going to have one of his bigger games. I mean, he's coming off the hat trick. He's averaging 130 scrimmage yards, and this will hurt the averages for sure. He's under 50 total, 47 total yards. Darius Taylor has been quiet, and it's not sad, but it's disappointing. It's disappointing especially for a player as electric as he was with a big rushing touchdown last week. Definitely thought they would have utilized him more.
Jordan Newman sees his first action of the game after a gain of 5, and looks like he'll get about 4 on 2nd down. That'll give him 3rd and 1, and Minnesota will come off the field as the clock winds down to 000s. So the Golden Gophers light up the scoreboard in the first half and have just about nothing going in the second half. The Pig will travel back with the Iowa Hawkeyes to Iowa City as the Gophers fall 14-31 at the hands of Kirk Ferentz yet again. And that was the knock on P.J. Fleck coming into last season, is he cannot beat Iowa with the invalid fair catch signal. The Gophers catch a break, win that one 12-10. And in this game, Kirk Ferentz showed that he was right the entirety of last season. And even earlier on this season, we heard Kirk Ferentz complaining about that invalid fair catch signal, saying that the Golden Gophers caught an unnecessary break. And frankly, they proved it.
I mean, they proved it. They did more than prove it, quite frankly, Jack. In a game where there was a lot of momentum going into half, up 14-7 at home, Iowa came out there, started the half with the ball, and Caleb Johnson, they really just gave it to him and said, go figure out and run. And he did that, made guys miss. A lot of missed tackles by the Gophers that should have been made, but Caleb Johnson really ended the game for the Iowa Hawkeyes kind of from the beginning of the second half.
Yeah, some quick stats. Iowa outgained Minnesota 334 to 288. Through the air, just 62 for Cade McNamara on 11 for 19. Brosmer, 22 of 37 for 209 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Darius Taylor was the leading rusher for the Gophers, 10 carries for 34 yards, only 3.4 yards a carry. Major, 5 for 33. And Iowa, like we said, Johnson, 21 for 206, 3 touchdowns. Patterson with 18 for 66. A couple of those were in garbage time. Lachey was the leading receiver in terms of receptions, had 3 for 9. Ostrenga, 2 for 20 on the Gophers side of things. Daniel Jackson, 9 for 112. Next behind him was Lemecki Brockington, 2 for 43. Minnesota, 5 penalties to Iowa's 1. Time of possession goes just in favor of the Hawkeyes, 31-43 to 28-17. And that'll about wrap it up here from the broadcast booth. Max, is there anything else you can say as we look forward to Michigan?
Let's see what they can do. I would say I would like to see more. I mean, as funny I find myself saying this, I would love to see them run the ball more, considering that's what we've been used to. At least the Gophers fans have been used to the last couple of years. I love passing. I love seeing big plays. But when it's not working, you have to go back to your quote-unquote bread and butter.
Yep.
And we just didn't see that today. Credit Iowa's defense. We knew they were stingy with the run game. But Darius Taylor, he's the hot hand. You gotta ride that hot hand. And I know he didn't find daylight too early today, his longest carry being only 17 yards. But in preparation for Michigan, we know they're not the same Michigan that they were last year as the national champions. We know the offense is a little weak. We still know that defense is legit. But I tell you what, it is very hard to play at Ann Arbor, and that itself is a challenge. So interested to see how the Gopher team fares. But there are a lot of question marks, especially after a game where this was the big gut check after having 2 successful weeks against weaker competition. But they made it look like the Gophers were back.
We will be back here from the broadcast booth when the Gophers take on the visiting USC Trojans on Saturday, October 5th. Game time still to be determined. We will see you then. For Jack, Max, Matthew up here in the broadcast booth, thank you for tuning in to another edition of Radio K Sports. Saying good night, get home safely, everyone. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for our next broadcast here on Radio K Sports. Signing off from Huntington Bank Stadium, Golden Gophers falling 14-31 to the Hawkeyes.